insane? Is it possible? Still I ask myself, are we our game? It's not logical, but you contemplate, are we am I?
My babies, welcome, Gripper Nation. Los Angeles Kings, Toronto Maple Leafs, Adam Wylde for the third time this week. It's your Bally Bet SDPN watch along, Leafs, Kings, and boy, do we have a bet for you. I'm gonna bring it up here. Hayden has sent it to me. Steve came up with it, and it's great. Are you ready? So the parlay with Bally's is Kopitar plus 1 point, Tavares plus 1 point, 6+ total goals. So Steve is begging us for a 4-3 or a 6-1 or something crazy. Like we're talking like 80s Leafs Kings game here. And by the way, I do want to throw out there that Anze Kopitar has not scored in Toronto ever in his life. Ever. So maybe tonight's the night. Listen, I told you that on Tuesday night that Alex Steves was going to score, and he sure scored, and he sure scored early. The Leafs lineups tonight. Are you ready? Austin Matthews is going to be out for at least a week. So the first line is all the guys that score for the Leafs. Nyes, Tavares, and Nylander, all three of them having spectacular seasons. Unfortunately, that's being drowned out by terrible defense, but we'll get to that in a second. So Nyes, Tavares, Nylander, line 1. Line 2, McMahon, Domi, Robertson. Line 3, Joshua Waugh, Michelli. I really like that line, and Michelli's numbers keep improving. I know nobody wants to talk about the good stuff with the Leafs right now, but I will tell you, if you look at the advanced numbers for Matias Maccelli, especially in the last 5 games, it seems like he's starting to figure it out on that third line. And then the fourth line is a bit of a Franken line. Sammy Blais, whose play I've honestly really liked. Steven Lorentz, who I love, and he can be a Toronto Maple Leaf forever. And a personal favorite of mine, Calle Jarnkrok, as well. I know he doesn't make a lot of Leaf fans' top favorite guy lists, but he's the best Swiss Army knife in the league, for my money. Utility man, to use a baseball term. Now, on defense, it's Riley Carlo. Not a great pair, but it was at the end of the season last year. Maybe they can get it together. Benoit McCabe, that's also not been great. Mermis and OEL, listen, why not pair the guy that you think is maybe the worst defenseman on the team with the guy who's definitely been the best one? Nothing against Dakota Mermis. It's just that he's the 8th defenseman, and we're obviously missing Tanev right now. And Philip Myers has looked bad. So Dakota Mermis in, Myers out. And starting right now is the best goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs this season. That's right. Just as we all predicted, it's Dennis Hildeby, the Beast. And backing him up because Anthony Stolarz is also hurt. That's right. Anthony Stolarz is hurt too. Maybe at work you missed that. Is Artur Akhtiamov. So basically, the Leafs have the Marlies goaltending pairing, and it might benefit them because Dennis Hildeby's been pretty good for them. And like I said, not been great otherwise in the Leafs net. They are among the league leaders in goals scored, but they are also among the league leaders in goals against. So it's not great. Now on the Kings side, Joel Armia, Anze Kopitar, Adrian Kempe, line 1. Line 2 is Fiala, Byfield, Laferriere, not Lafreniere. Warren Fogle, Philip Deneau, and Trevor Moore. That's a pain in the ass line. And then line 4 is Jeff Mallett, Alex Turcotte, and Corey Perry, who just keeps scoring. Corey Perry is back. Mike Anderson and Drew Doughty, defense pair 1. Number 2, former Leaf Joel Edmondson and Brant Clark. And then Brian Dumoulin, who, hey, there's a guy that used to play in Pittsburgh, and he's now here. And then everybody's favorite former Leaf, Cody Ceci. You know, if there's anything I recommend, it's signing former Leaf defensemen because it worked out so well here. I can't give the LA Kings that much hell, though. They've been looking pretty good. I'm telling you, if you go on Bally Bet, obviously we got the King Me Bet, which Steve called it. Obviously, you get juiced odds with that parlay. But if you just want to go small, I would say Anze Kopitar anytime goal. He's never scored here. It's probably, I think this is his last game in Toronto. I think it's a pretty fair bet to say that LA is going to be looking for him. Hayden asked me, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Absolutely. One of the best defensive centermen, I think, of all time. 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Most of the time, LA has made the playoffs when he's been here. I don't know how you get much better than that. Just dependable and awesome most seasons of his career. I don't even think he's had that many major injuries. Am I wrong on that? Hayden, can you look that up? I don't think he's missed a lot of time. Yeah, look at his DB. See what you find. Game has started, 9-10. Gripper Nation, I hope you had a great day, and I hope you've had a great week. I just want to remind everybody that no matter how bad the Leafs game goes tonight, it's still Friday tomorrow. And that feels good, doesn't it? That feels real good. Big shout out to Leif Olbstad, who dropped the first super chat of the night. Toronto gets revenge by proxy on LA tonight? Maybe. I don't know if we're in revenge mode, but hey, we could try. And then Wes Richard dropping 5 SDPN memberships because he's Daddy West, and that's what he does. Roadrunners 554. It's my birthday today. Perfect time for a win. I agree. I just hope you're not a Kings fan. Okay, Hayden, go ahead. What do you got on Anze Kopitar and his injury history? Non-shortened season. Yep. Yep. So outside of the lockout year and the COVID year, the least amount of games that Anze Kopitar has played is 76. You're talking about he might be considered the most dependable player of all time. Considering the minutes that he's had to play, he always plays the top line matchup. He's always the guy out there in high leverage situations, offensively and defensively. First ballot Hall of Famer. Put him in right now. He doesn't even need to retire, but put him in. Guy's amazing. Here comes this Maccelli, Joshua, and Waugh line. Honestly, they're not perfect, but I've kind of liked them a lot. I think it's better than the third line last year for the Leafs, and they have put some goals in. The one thing I think that we need to kind of keep in perspective about the Toronto Maple Leafs right now is they do score a lot. So if you could keep that going, but maybe stitch up the bleeding a little bit. There's Domi with a big shot. Good to see him shooting. He never does. If you could hopefully, you know, stem that bleeding just a little bit, you'd be okay. Now, looking at the power play for LA and Toronto, Toronto at a 17.4%, that's 24th, LA at 26th. Toronto's power play and LA's power play are basically even, 20th and 21st. Face-off percentage, Toronto's always strong in this category, 55.1%. Goals for, they're fourth. Goals against, they are dead friggin' last. LA does not score as much as Toronto, a lot less than Toronto, 20th, but they don't allow much either, 11th. So it's going to be really like LA plays the kind of game I think Craig Berube would like Toronto to play. Toronto plays high scoring, low event hockey. I think he'd like them to play low scoring, low event hockey on both ends, which is what LA does. So maybe Toronto can learn a couple things tonight. Here's Morgan Rielly at the point. Shot. Oh, just missed the net. And I think he would have handcuffed Kemper there. Rielly's going to get the puck again. Down low, and then it's Robertson, McMahon, Domi. This line is always good for a good time. This line is your friend that parties a little too hard, but man, they're great. It's just make sure that you leave the party at 1 o'clock because they're not leaving till 4 a.m. That's this line. They will score. I don't want to see them in the defensive zone. You don't want to see them hung over. That's when the headache hits. And hey, listen, good for them. They get the puck out. Now, one of the things Craig Berube said before this game is like, this is a team with a lot of veterans. We have a lot of injuries. We're just going to have to fight through it. And I think that's the only attitude you can have. A win tonight, I feel like would feel pretty damn good if you're them. I mean, it feels good any night, but I think especially tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs, considering how bad Tuesday was, I'll take that. Not that LA is going to make it easy. All right. Wow, there's so many people in here. Oh, Fish in 2020 says, is the 2012 Cup Run Kings, the 2012 Cup Run Kings went to on the greatest championship run in sports considering what they were expecting to do, how dominant it was. Yeah, the LA Kings in 2012 finished 7th in the conference and just rolled to the finals. They were special. That was a really fun run to watch. I remember that one vividly. Not every Stanley Cup run is great, but that one was awesome. And I can remember where they barely made the playoffs. They couldn't score goals until they traded for Jeff Carter. Jonathan Quick was at the top of his game. Drew Doughty was a young guy. Dustin Brown was like the new captain. Kind of crazy how many of those guys stuck around for that long. Like the fact that Kopitar and Doughty are still here. And I think the Leafs have taken a penalty, which is a huge problem for the Leafs. If you're an LA Kings fan and you're tuning in, it's been a problem for them the whole season. And it's Tavares this time. Surprising. They take. Hayden said, how many penalties in the first 5 minutes do these guys get? First 5 minutes of every period, Hayden. And I don't know. Maybe you can look that one up for me, but they got to be among the league leaders. And I don't know, but this Tavares thing is a little. You guys know what I'm going to say. Berube's pissed, and he should be. That's a dumb friggin' penalty. Hopefully the Leafs get a dumb friggin' penalty back their own way, though. Little game management. There was a lot of game management against Boston. Toronto got away with a couple. Boston got away with a couple. The refs, you could be like, yeah, I feel like they feel bad for Toronto. Like Domi, I think, slashed a guy center ice or hooked him pretty bad or whatever it was. And the ref was staring right at it and didn't call it. Bruins fans in the chat were like, what the hell? And then they were like, oh, wait, we're up 4-1. So LA just iced the puck. There's Kopitar out there with his cool Thomas Plekanec turtleneck. It's like Steve Jobs put on hockey gear. Roadrunner 55-4 says Toronto wins tonight. By the way, if you're watching the stream and you're like, why does Adam have such a stupid mustache? That is because I'm doing stuff for November, and the link, if it's not in the description, Hayden, I might ask you to put it in the description. We're hoping that people can donate money. Steve and Jesse and I all have silly facial hair. Jesse's is growing in right now. You can't quite see it, but the back half of this month, he is going to be sexy New York Knicks player from the 1970s. I forget who it was, but he's going to have like the full mutton chops and the. Oh, it's going to be so cool. It's a monster stash. And he'd grow out his whole beard to do it. Quee 30-29-3. Love from LA. Hope for another great game between LA and Toronto. Go Kings, go. I love that we have some Kings fans in here tonight. Listen, I can't cheer for the Kings, but I can cheer for you being here. And I appreciate you guys. Tell all your other Kings friends, come join us. Leafs power play doing a pretty good job here of just keeping the puck somewhat dead. One of the issues the Leafs have had, other than their goaltending is horrific, is that they have not been able to stop any sort of rush passes or any cross-ice passes. I don't know if you guys played, if you're old enough to have played NHL 2011, 2012, 2013, but there was a time when if you were able to get in right around the hash marks and pass the puck across the ice to another player, it was an instant goal. Now, EA has fixed that since, but it was like every time, 10 out of 10, it was going to be a goal. And that's been the Toronto Maple Leafs this year. And we're going to see if they can patch that. Oh, we got some more LA people in here. Hayden, can you bring up my my microphone, please? Just a little bit louder, please. Thank you. Slurms McKenzie says, what's up from LA? Now, LA is a big place. If you guys are tuning in from LA, I got to ask, where? Where in LA? What neighborhood? All right. Nick Waugh taking the face off. Leafs are going to be done this power play. Tavares is stepping out on the ice right now. Kings got 3 shots. None of them really got that dangerous, though, which is a good sign. This is one of the better first 7-minute efforts I've seen from the Toronto Maple Leafs literally all year. And if you're an LA Kings fan going, I don't know, it didn't seem that special. Trust me, that's how bad it's been, man. It's been brutal. Absolutely brutal. Stone Cool 20, hi from LA. I live right by Anaheim, but screw the Ducks. Baron says, facial hair looking swag. Keep it up. Bear in the Garage says, go Kings, go. I'm so glad I'm not the only one here. Didn't know if it was safe to come out of the shadows. Vladursky 94 says, I'm tuning in from Century City. Not a Kings fan, though. Who do you cheer for in Century City? Are you a Ducks fan? Are you a Sharks truther? Who else we got? The Freak Show 777. Great to see you, Adam. Love to see you, Freak Show. I hope the game treats you better than the last. Yeah, no kidding. All right, here we go. Out-of-town scoreboard. Dallas and Montreal squaring off. It's 0-0 through 5 minutes there. Sens already up 1-0 on the Bruins. Ducks, what up, OC? Taking on the Red Wings. That is a rematch of the 2004 Stanley Cup Final? 2002? I can't even remember. And, of course, it glitched out on us. Well, Hayden will bring it back. That's okay. It'll pop back to the Kings. Steve Galando, longtime Kings fan and SDPN fan watching from Minnesota. Now, fun fact, Kings fans, I don't know that this is totally true, but I'm pretty sure we lifted our SDPN colors from you guys. We are black, we are silver, and we are gray. So there is a little bit of a Kings connection there. DG North, the stash is repulsive, but I love it and I love the cause. I love you, DG. Thank you. Everyday Gents from Cali, but a Leafs fan. Go Leafs, go. Wow. Even after the last decade when every California team was the best team in the league, you still chose the Leafs. Lucid, Toronto fan here. Hopeful for this game. Yeah, let's go. Any other Kings fans? Hit me up. Where are you guys from in LA or in California? California is one of my favorite places on earth. I actually, we went to Northern California earlier this year with the Sharks, which was amazing. but I've been in LA a bunch of times for interviews. I used to do that all the time when record companies used to actually fly people around to do interviews. Now they just do them all on Zoom. I used to be one of the guys that got to do that. It was really cool. I used to go to Shutters on the Beach in Santa Monica and interview people. I don't know if anybody knows the Santa Monica Pier all that well, but it's right near there. It's very cool. Robert Bett on Leafs Nation. Jay Rosehill was talking about a source in Toronto, talking about a trade with Calgary. The Leafs are going hard for Rasmus Andersson. And sorry about that. Stash makes you look like a 70s adult star. You mean a porn star? Yeah, Robert, here's the thing. I don't doubt Jay's source. I doubt Calgary's intentions. I think Jay's source told him what he told him. I also think that Elliot Friedman said on The Fan, I think today, that that Toronto made a hard push for Rasmus Andersson. But Elliot sort of also said with an asterisk that any deal between Toronto and Calgary is probably unlikely. I just to give you guys a background there, Murray Edwards, the owner, and Don Maloney, the president, are they love to interfere. And Murray Edwards never wants to rebuild. Oh, here we go. Bobby McMahon using his speed. Come on, Bobby. Oh, he scores. Bobby McMahon on a breakaway. And that's a big goal. The Leafs actually take a lead. They actually scored first. And it's Bobby McMahon using that deceptive speed, only the second shot of the game. And he scores. Wow. Bobby McMahon has stepped up and fought Nikita Zadorov and others. Bobby McMahon has been a heart and soul guy the last few games when the Leafs have looked like junk. And look at this. Go, Bobby. Nice little play there. That feels good. Oh, I can feel the energy. Let's go. Hey. Listen, I don't know how long this lasts. We did score first against the Bruins, too, and then they got 2 quick ones. So maybe the Leafs need to, pay attention right now. But I like that start. And as I told you, the Leafs don't have any trouble scoring goals. It's stopping goals that's the problem. But don't worry, Dennis Hildeby's in net. He's their best goalie. Now, talking about that Rasmus Andersson rumor, obviously we're going to talk a little bit more about it on the SDP. What's really important here is that you understand the politics behind this. Murray Edwards, Don Maloney. Murray Edwards owner, Don Maloney president. Murray Edwards spends a lot of time in Europe, allegedly. But he does still pay a lot of attention to the Flames, and obviously he's the owner of the Flames, so he has a lot of say in what goes down. Brad got so fed up with the way that Don and Murray wanted the show run, and I think it has to do with, Johnny Gaudreau, messing up not re-signing him properly, which led to Matthew Tkachuk going, well, if Johnny's out, I'm definitely not sticking around. So then they had to trade Matthew Tkachuk, as we all know. Brad Treliving resigned. And if you guys remember, Calgary was so pissed about it that they would not let him on the floor for the first round of the draft for the Toronto Maple Leafs, which was just an all-time petty move. Now, Toronto and Calgary were working on a Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev deal in the 23-24 season in January, and it looked like it almost got done. Even Dan Milstein, who's Nikita Zadorov's agent, said, Toronto will look out for the Zadorov train, blah, blah, blah. Now, he was playing in Toronto that week, but, there was heavy rumors, heavy implication that Zadorov was not going to re-sign in Calgary and that Toronto desperately wanted him. And Calgary, of course, strung them along and used them as leverage, and inevitably, Zadorov got traded to Vancouver, and Tanev got traded eventually to Dallas. So with all that said, I don't think that a trade, as long as Brad Treliving is a general manager for the Toronto Maple Leafs, a trade between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames, Fried said it, I've heard it too. I'm not saying Jay's wrong. I'm saying his source is probably absolutely right. But I would also say that a trade getting approved by Maloney and Murray Edwards, I think is far-fetched. And also, I want to throw this at you. Dave Nonis, who I believe was Jay Rosehill's general manager for a little while here in Toronto, is one of the leakiest ships in the NHL, and I believe he's still with Calgary's front office. And so if that's a part of this, Calgary loves to use Toronto to drum up interest in players. They just do it. Other teams do it too. Calgary's the most obvious one. I don't know how much stock to put or not put in that rumor. I think Jay would be the best guy to ask, but I don't know. Here's the other thing. Let's forget all the politics aside. What does Toronto have? You're not trading Easton Cowan. You kind of need him for the top six. I know he's scratched from the Marlies today, but that's because David Comp's contract is going to be terminated tomorrow, and the Leafs are in a bit of a cap crunch until that gets done. So they can't bring, from what I understand, they can't bring Easton Cowan up until David Comp's contract's off the books. So you're going to have, you need Easton Cowan to be the next guy in your top six. And he's not going to be perfect this year, but you need him to be, he's not going to be Mitch Marner. He's not going to be Matthew Nyes, but you need him to develop into a top six player for you, right? When it comes to what else the Leafs have to offer, it's like Ben Danford and what? They have a kid playing in the OHL named Harry Nancy. No, wait. Is he playing for the Oil Kings? It's WHL. Yeah, Nancy's in the O. Who's he playing for in the O? Here, look it up. Look it up. So Nancy, Harry Nancy is a guy that's coming on strong. Miroslav Holinka is another guy that's coming on strong. But, like, you kind of need to keep those guys. So I don't even know what the Owen Sound Harry Nancy plays for. Look him up. He's been great. By the way, I should let you know. Right now, fans are able to use the promo code SDPN on this Bally Bet SDPN watch along to unlock the 100% profit boost each Saturday for the rest of the regular season. This is in addition to Bally Bet's site-wide welcome offer. That's where you get $50 in bonus bets when you wager $10. Please note that this offer is only valid in the United States, but we are cooking up something special for our Ontario viewers, so don't you worry. It's not quite ready yet. And there is a Steve Dangle parlay on Bally Bet right now available in Canada and the United States. Kopitar plus 1 point, Tavares plus 1 point, 6 total plus goals. So 6 plus total goals. So 6 and over. I think the fact that Tavares is scoring all the time, Kopitar has never scored a goal in Toronto, and the Leafs can't stop a beach ball. 6 total goals doesn't seem completely out of reach. Just check it out. Bally Bet SDPN watch along. Now, I don't know what the Leafs have to give for Rasmus Andersson. So I'm curious about that. I don't believe that they're going to trade Easton Cowan. I don't know that they're going to trade Ben Danford in a deal like this. I don't think that's enough to get it done. And you're definitely not trading your 2028 first rounder. So what does Calgary want? Is it a hockey trade? Do you have a forward? The Leafs have a lot of forwards. Is there somebody who's in the lineup tonight that gets traded along with them? I don't know. I don't even know, because, like, there was that report from Barn Burner, which is a Calgary podcast. Really great guys over there, by the way. Boomer especially, really nice guy. If you want to check that out, it's a good one. They have a lot of insights. Rhett Warner's on that too. Obviously used to play for the Flames. And the thing about what they were saying is that apparently Murray Edwards believes that the core of Kadri, Uyghur, and Huberdeau, along with some of the young guys, so Coronado, Parekh, Dustin Wolf. Parek's not had a great start, but you know what I'm saying? He thinks that's enough, and that maybe they don't need to bottom out. And I just don't know that they're going to have a choice. They might be last in the league anyway, but there seems to be some sort of hesitancy from upper management to trade a guy like Nazem Kadri. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know. It's a lot going on there. Francois Lavelle, I love the porn stash, Adam. Thank you, sir. It's all for Movember. Hawks 23. Here's how the Kraken can still win the Stanley Cup. I don't know, can they? Heather the Ass fans, all the cool kids are donating, and they're hitting like too. Thank you, Heather. Katie says, oh, here we go, Michelli. Oh, I told you, guys. If you don't believe me, go on any of the advanced hockey stat sites. Michelli's numbers are coming up. This guy's playing good hockey. Katie Fay, is the Leaf at center ice black instead of blue? I'll have to check that out. Maybe it's just your TV. I don't actually know. Somebody said, oh, no, yeah, the TV, you know what? Honestly, the Leaf does look black. You know what? I should text Jesse. Hey, Jesse. Jesse Blake. Hey, Jesse, is the leaf at center ice black or just a dark blue? We on the stream want to know. Jesse's at the game, being a reporter and being professional. And it's just us in here partying. I think this fits my vibe a little bit better. I don't know if I could be. I sat in the press box with Steve and Jesse last year during a San Jose Leafs game in Toronto. They lost. And I got to tell you, I don't know. I don't know how to be professional in that box. It's not a place for me. Leafs scored. I cheered. And you're not supposed to do that. Hawks 23. The Kraken can win the Stanley Cup with the power of friendship. Yeah, I think they might. They have some character there, man. I love what Mason Marchment's brought to that team. I hated the fact that he was dive bombing Anthony Stolarz, but mostly I hated the fact that the Leafs let him. BC says Seattle teams don't win championships. Jesse says it is dark blue. It is the color of the Leafs logo. So it is not black. It is a dark blue. Thank you, Jesse Blake. Somebody's saying it might be an ESPN tint. Well, it looks the same on Sportsnet too. So I don't know. Randy Leahy says, I am drunk. Well, with a name like Randy Leahy. Do you have your shirt on? I hope not. Thomas Whitlock. Royal blue is the best sports color IMO. And I'm a massive Duke fan, college team in North Carolina. Oh, I know come on, I know Duke. It's their colors as well. Yeah. I remember I used to have a Tar Heels hat because Vince Carter played for the Tar Heels. And I thought I was a cool guy getting a Tar Heels hat because that was Vince Carter's college. So, Baylost, how we looking tonight? I know the vibe is negative in the fandom right now, but I like to try to be positive and hoping for a win. Baylost, I got to be honest with you. It's the best Leafs first period I've seen them play probably since last Thursday night's game when Scott Laughton was playing. And other than that, probably the best first period I've seen them play in a month. They've looked good. Even killed a penalty. Looked pretty strong on that. And, you know, what I love about this is without Austin and without Scott Laughton and without Chris Tanev and without Anthony Stolarz and without Joseph Woll, they seem to be going, hey, we got to play hard tonight. We got to, play hockey. I honestly do think, and I will say this all season, you guys will get tired of me saying this, the Toronto Maple Leafs never, ever, ever in this era learned to play a full 60 minutes. They didn't have to. You have game breakers. You got Matthews, you got Marner, you got Nylander, and you got Tavares. You didn't need to play 60 minutes ever in the regular season, and they rarely did. Now, you do, especially with all those guys out. But even at their best, I don't think you've got the same game-breaking talent. Like, you did lose Marner. So, yeah, I think this is probably a good lesson for them because anybody who's watched more than one Leaf game this year will tell you they've never played 60 minutes other than last Thursday when they played Utah. That was a full 60. That's it. Nylander, one of the league leaders in scoring, by the way. He's been spectacular. Oh, into Tavares. Gets it in. Kemper turns it aside. McCabe and Benoit out there. Benoit has had a really tough start. He was injured in preseason. I wonder if he's still hurt, but he's playing bad. Tonight, he's looked pretty good so far. Got to keep that focus. It's still early, baby. By the way, big shout out to all the LA fans. I know there's people joining us all the time. So everybody who's a Kings fan or somebody from California or somebody who's a Leafs or a Kings fan, not from California or Toronto, there are plenty of you too. Love having you guys here. We're going to do a little city shout out in a bit here. Oh, Michelli kind of almost he stopped a scoring chance from Anze Kopitar, but almost started a scoring chance on his own goalie. Again, Kopitar is going to be looking to score tonight. Has not ever scored here. In fact, when he was talking to reporters this morning, he said, I've never scored at the Air Canada Center. That's how old Anze Kopitar is. Old. Like me. He's actually older than me. And in so much better shape. It's sad. Rye Guy T.O. Leafs fan here. I live in Calgary, and I have family in L.A. Kings season ticket holders. Now, that's crazy. I have family in Seattle. I have family in Pennsylvania, in Harrisburg. And my aunt, she passed away, was in Philadelphia. All over North America. Riley, along the boards, gives it up to Corey Perry, who's been dangereux. And this is the line that I'm worried about on the Leafs side. It's the Domi, Robertson, McMahon line. As you can see, they kind of get pinned. And unfortunately, the Leafs also have Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who's been good, and Dakota Mermis, who's been, but he's, their eighth defenseman. So, and it's actually not even Oliver Ekman-Larsson out there. It's Morgan Rielly, which is not great. That looked like it could have been offside, but I think CC saved it just before it did. Leafs clear. Bobby McMahon racing Edmondson for it. Former teammates, by the way. McMahon brings down Edmondson. Edmondson loses a stick. Gets it out front. Nyes is not able to get a stick on it. Oh! And the puck then hits Edmondson, who seems to be really hurt. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with a shot. It misses the net. Edmondson is still on the ice. Oh, they score. Oh, that's Dumoulin. Why am I saying that's Edmondson? John Tavares. That is point one of our Steve Dangle King parlay. I hope you took it. It's got the boosted odds. He said Tavares is going to get a point. He said Kopitar is going to get a point. And +6 on the goals. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, by the way, on this Bally bet, SDPN Thursday night watch along, are up. And they're up big. Wow. The Leafs got away with one there. Got a nice high stick to the face, Dumoulin. At least it wasn't his knee. I was worried about that. So we got 1 out of 3 on that parlay that Steve put together. And Tavares is just a monster. Absolute monster. And by the way, my fantasy team just benefited. Oliver Ekman-Larsson is incredible, and he's my highest getting point getter. I could have said that better. But I have Bouchard. I've got Carlson, who's been great. I've got Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and I've got let me run you through my fantasy team. I know it's so interesting, isn't it? I always love talking fantasy hockey with people. It's my freaking favorite thing. I'm addicted to it. Let me just bring it up. Bringing it up here. Bringing it up. It's taken forever. Of course. Okay, here we go. Bouchard, Sanderson, who's been great. Bouchard stinks this year for whatever reason. Sanderson, Carlson, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And you know who's sitting on my bench? Who I drafted way too early? Rasmus Andersson. The guy in all the Leafs trade rumors today. It's kind of crazy. Tyson Barnett, if any two guys need a 10 out of 10 performance, and their names on the score sheets tonight, it's Riley and Carlo. Those two need to get going ASAP. Amen, Tyson. Amen. Like, these guys are too good to be this bad. Straight up, though, I'm liking the Leafs' effort. By the way, Wes Richard, a.k.a. Daddy West, dropping 5 SDPN memberships. For everybody that doesn't know, we have a subscription service where you can get all of our shows ad-free. It's called SDP VIP ad-free. It also gets you an extra episode. So there's 2 tiers on YouTube, okay? You got the VIP one where you get just an extra episode every week, which is a really fun episode. It releases tomorrow morning. So if you were gifted an SDPN membership tonight, you can check it out tomorrow morning at like 5 a.m., I think is when Jesse posts it. And then if you want to go to the next tier and be a monthly subscriber, I think it's $6.99 a month, you get every episode we give you completely ad-free, and you get it earlier than anybody else because it's straight up easier to just post it without the ads in it. Just got to go put it online. So if you want SDP early every single time, if you want it ad-free, and also it does really help support us, to support small business, which is what we're running here, we do very much appreciate it. Give it a shot. Let us know what you think. Thomas Whitlock, lead is not big enough for the Leafs. Amen, Thomas. Yeah, 2-0. I don't even know if a 6-0 lead with the Toronto Maple Leafs at this point is big enough. So Kings fans, you are now on the power play, and you are not out of this. This has been a real bugaboo for the Leafs all year, especially since their PK is bottom third of the league. They take way too many penalties, and strangely enough, have been horrible at preventing goals. Not a great combination. Not ideal. But here we go. They had a pretty good kill at about 15-13, I think, was when the first power play. And John Tavares, weirdly enough, was the guy that takes it. He almost is never in the box. It was a weak slash. Hayden, I didn't see what this penalty exactly was. Did you? Yeah, I guess I don't even know if they've had a chance to get to the replay. Okay, so Hayden didn't see it either. Robert Bet. I know it's probably not a good idea. What's that, Hayden? Oh, it's Nylander for hooking. So Tavares and Nylander are the big penalties? Jeez. Nick Waugh dropped it, or sorry, blocked a shot. 52 seconds remaining on the power play. LA running a 5-forward power play. Watch out for number 10, Corey Perry. Renaissance year. He's been spectacular. That's somebody maybe Edmonton should have hung on to. Scores a lot of goals. And it's amazing. Like, he's like 3 or 4 years older than me. And he's just ageless. Never was the craziest skater. And, you know, at one point was a Hart Trophy winner, has won a cup, 50-goal scorer, that sort of thing. You don't lose the hands. So if speed's not a part of your game, you can have some longevity. Oh, big save by Hildeby. Another big save, jamming at the side of the net is Corey Perry. Hildeby turns him aside. 10 seconds to go on the power play. Leafs trying to break the LA Kings up at the blue line. 1:17 left in the first period. Nylander is going to be back on the ice. Fiala with the puck down low, trying to get it out front. Benoit with a block. And here comes Steven Lorentz. He's going to try to find William Nylander. LA is on the power play, and they're tired. And Nylander rings it off the post. Oh. Woo! This is a fast, fun period. Nylander's smiling. And Hayden says, is Corey Perry a first ballot Hall of Famer? I think he is too. I think that would be ridiculous, especially his longevity and his productivity at this age. I mean, what has he been to, 5 or 6 straight Stanley Cup finals? I don't know. And listen, I know he hasn't won them. Oh man, Willie was so damn close on that shot. Yeah, I think Corey Perry, any player that scores as much as he has, been a role player as much as he has, been a star as much as he has, and been to as many cup finals as he has, that's a winner. That's a guy who's a first ballot Hall of Famer as well. Robert Bett says, I know it's probably not a good idea with the Blackhawks and Blues coming up, but would you play Artur Akhtiamov in one of those games? I think you play Akhtiamov against the Blues. I don't think Hildeby's that tired. He's only played like 3 or 4 games up here, and he's done a lot of sitting and watching. And every time he has come in for Anthony Stolarz, he's been good. I don't have a problem. Like, you've got tomorrow off, and then you're playing Saturday. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't play Akhtiamov against the Blues. The Blackhawks, I wouldn't. They are looking offensively pretty strong. It's exciting to watch them, actually. 32 seconds left in the first period. So, yeah, that's what I would do. That. You can't, I was saying on Tuesday, you can't bring Joseph Woll up until he's absolutely ready. And remember, he left training camp before even playing a preseason game. And he hadn't played hockey in a game since Game 7 against the Panthers in May, early May. You got to give the guy a couple of weeks. He's not ready. He's also not looked incredibly sharp. I hate to say that, but he hasn't. Two games, he's let in 6 goals. So I think you gotta wait till he gets his mojo back a little bit here. And if Hildeby performs, there's no rush. Remember, it's still somewhat early. If the Leafs defense could just, play defense, less of a problem. 8 seconds left to go in the first period. It's one of the faster first periods I've ever said. I have to tell you, it's so nice to be watching a Leafs game and not being completely depressed after the first period. Kings fans have got to feel like, man, we should have had one. But that was a pretty evenly matched first period, at least to my eye. I haven't looked at obviously the metrics of it. That's one of the better first periods I've seen the Leafs play. Kings don't look out of it. I think we got a game here. I think we had a good game here. James Stemler, why is it always Austin Matthews out, bring them to life? Because they rely too much on Austin. There was I'll get Steve to send it over. And when we come back, because we're going to go to break here in a second, and we're going to play a clip. But there is a Leaf fan who, and I forget their name, I could see their profile picture right now, who made a really good point about how the Leafs have been deploying Austin Matthews. And it's been in a lot of defensive situations. And I understand that Austin is a strong defensive forward. And this is assuming that Austin's healthy, which I don't know that he is fully. Clearly he's not. He's missing a week. But they have put him in a lot of defensive situations with Scott Laughton out of the lineup. And at a certain point, it's like, man, Nick Waugh can take that face off. Tavares could take that face off. Buddy, like I don't know, Steven Lorenz can take the face off, man. Like figure it out. You got to let your 70-goal guy almost be your 70-goal guy, you know? What else we got here? Thomas Whitlock, biased opinion, Brind'Amour is hot as is a Hall of Famer. I think Brind'Amour should be. Look at how great he's been throughout his career. Look at all that. Wait, did Heather just drop? Heather, I'm sorry I missed this. Heather dropped 20 SDPN memberships. Hell yeah, Heather. Thank you for that. Alex9269 says, so let's talk fantasy. Do I keep Shesterkin? Those losses are killing me. I also have Bobrovsky, who's off to a rough start. That's why I always leave goalies for last. My goalies are like Lankinen and Saros. I always yield the goaltending categories. I'm like, whatever. I would rather score more goals, have better plus-minus hits. We don't count hits in my league, but to me, always go with the offensive stuff because goalies are weird. And you can always pick up goalies who get hot on waivers. But I would say stick with Shesterkin because the defensive metrics for the Rangers, as long as they're not playing at home, have been pretty good this year. So I actually think the Rangers are good. They've just got a weird thing about playing at Madison Square Garden. Anybody that starts a season 7-1-1 on the road is a good team. End of story. I think the Rangers are poised to break out. I could be crazy, but just kind of feels to me like what's going to happen. There's a super chat from Lindsay. Can you send it to me? Read it to me. Oh, Lindsay says, found out I'm pregnant with a boy. Name suggestions. I mean, you could name him Adam. Gripper. Yeah, Hayden says Gripper. Man. Well, congratulations, by the way. I just want to say, first off, nothing cooler than having a kid. Actually, there's plenty of cool things in the world, but there is nothing, to me anyway, cooler than having one. It is an unbelievable amount of work, but it is unbelievably cool. And I have a 6-year-old, and I was actually at her parent-teacher interviews today. So, guys, I'm going to ask this. Throw your name suggestions for Lindsay in the chat. We'll see if Lindsay ends up actually picking one of these names. We'll come back and talk about them. So congratulations, Lindsay. We're thrilled for you. Yay! Do we have confetti or anything, Hayden, that we can run? Confetti? Bye. All right, Leafs goal horn. This is the Leafs goal horn. Let's go. Lindsay. All right, what clip are we playing? Can the Leafs turn it around? All right. Let's see what we said yesterday on the STP. Can the Leafs turn it around? We'll see.
People forget Brandon Carlo, first off, hilariously in Boston, averaged over the last few years like 5.5, 6 hits a game. I don't know where that went, but that is the truth. That is real.
The crest is poison.
As soon as him and Morgan Rielly paired up last season, Riley's numbers instantly better.
Mm-hmm.
This year, Riley's better without him. And I don't know what happened to Brandon Carlo over the summer, but he's bad.
Yeah.
And sorry, Morgan Rielly's not much better. So when we look at it's a mixture of everything that could go wrong did. And, I'm trying to watch the Marley scored right now to see if Joseph Woll is any good.
Mm-hmm. How's that going?
We have to start in net. The easiest problem to fix is to continue to start Dennis Hildeby.
Mm-hmm.
And if Woll is not ready after today, you do not bring him up. You bring up Akhtiamov and you sit him on the bench. And you wait until Joseph Woll gets his game back. Because if you bring him back and he gets shelled, he's going to be fucked too. Like, to be like, if you screw up his confidence early in the season, which, people forget, he left camp so early, he didn't even play in the preseason.
Right.
Guys, he hadn't played a full game since the Panthers game 7. There is no way you can bring Joseph Wall into this. The defense is not strong or deep enough. You've got to go with the hot hand. The hot hand's Dennis Hildeby, and you wait until Joseph Wall gets his game back in the minors. You do.
You could almost argue, well, they had to do it, but like, you could kind of use Caden Primo right now.
Or Matt Murray.
Or Matt Murray, damn.
Yeah.
Well, because like,
they can't use Caden Primo right now.
No.
Yeah, but you're throwing.
No, dude, he sucks.
If
Like,
you
what?
end up,
Startable.
well, I thought I was in the middle of saying.
Oh, okay, go.
If Akhtyamov has to play a game, then yeah, you let go of him too early. But I guess I'm getting ahead of myself.
I think Caden Primo sucks ass, dude. I don't ever want to see him near a Leafs net again. After that last start, there is no fucking chance they could have ever started that player again. No fucking chance.
No chance. The TJ Brennan of goalies, the Jason Krog of goalies.
Yes, absolutely.
He's so elite in the AHL. He's unbelievable, and he cannot play in the NHL.
Adam, what was it, that Columbus game? 700?
700 save percentage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Primo.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised it was that high.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I just had to throw that in there.
It was crazy bad. They were out shooting Columbus 28-13 and losing 5-1. Caden Primo was not the answer. Dennis Hildeby right now this week is.
It was
And
one of
maybe
their
next
better
week
games of the season.
Maybe next week it'll be Joseph Wall again. But if he is bad with the Marlies. By the way, I don't know what anybody really wants to admit it, but Saturday night when he played for the Marlies, he played 36 minutes, allowed 3 goals. Not good enough. Not NHL yet. Gotta give him time. Stollers is injured. You sit Stollers until he's 100% healthy, because when he's not, he sucks, and it's going to screw up his confidence. If you have to punt on this year, then you punt on this year. And I'm gonna fast forward this conversation for a second.
Okay.
2016-2017 Tampa Bay Lightning. Stamkos played 17 games for them.
Right.
They missed the playoffs. This is a team that went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals less than 18 months before that. 26 games Stamkos played in the playoffs. The not the year before, but the year before that when they went to the finals.
Right.
Kucherov led the team in scoring. They allowed way too many goals. They missed the playoffs, and what happened? The next year they were back and they started building again.
Yes, but you know what Tampa had? A ridiculously healthy crop of young guys.
Yeah, well, time to build.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's not like they, with that high draft pick they were given by finishing whatever it was, like 16th or 17th in the league, because they barely missed. They got Cal Foote, who turned into nothing.
Dude, they didn't turn into less than that. They barely hit on their firsts for a while there. But
the Drouin for Sergachev move was pretty sweet.
The Drouin for Sergachev move was crazy.
Monster trade.
Obviously, you have pillars like Stamkos and Hedman. Kucherov was a second rounder. Palat, I think, was later in the draft. Tyler Johnson, I'm not even sure they drafted. I think he might have just been a signing. Yanni Gord was a signing.
Yep.
Tampa went off in drafting and developing for a while. I was looking at all-time...
With the Tampa Bay Lightning, we are ignoring the fact that they went to the Stanley Cup final 2 years before that, and the year before that, they were in the conference final.
Yeah, well, that is also true.
I did.
Yeah, but like
I just said that.
Yeah, but with I feel like that's the emphasis there in that they missed the playoffs. Then they were a team that was in the Stanley Cup final. That's not even close to what the Leafs.
Their fall off was easily
for
explained.
an apples to apples comparison. You're not going to fucking get one. My point is, and I've said this before. This could be a step back year. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you sell it off.
Adam, this is a fall on your ass in the mud back year.
Sure, but you better make sure you're not going to get your first round pick back.
No.
Unless you're in the top 5, which is pretty bad.
Yes.
You're going to have to, if this continues, you're going to have to sell. That's Carlo. That's, you got to sit down with Morgan Riley and tell him it's over. That's Domi.
You just got to start scratching them.
That's you got to start firing these guys out. And that will be, listen, you think that this is a short amount of time between now and the trade deadline? I'm here to tell you it's not.
No.
Because the trade deadline, the soft trade deadline is pre-Olympic break. most of February is taken up by the Olympics. I think the NHL stops on the 5th, and then it starts again on the 25th. And I think the trade deadline is like March 7th. It's 2 weeks later.
We do 3 shows a week, and I do a video after every game. It doesn't feel like a short amount of time.
I will tell you that these trade. I think in January we're going to get a soft trade deadline. There's going to be some moves before that Olympic break.
I don't have the patience to wait that long.
You don't have a choice because no one's making trades right now. No one.
Incorrect. People make trades in November all the time.
Never ones that change any, other than the Avalanche last year when they replaced both goalies.
And the Avalanche a few years before that when they did the Matt Duchene thing. And follow the leader. Are the Avs good or are they
They're
good?
Very good. They're going to win the cup.
You can do it. It can be done. That's what the money's for. Get her going.
My concern now is that they double down on this and do something stupid like trade Danford or Cowan. And I don't care. I don't care if Danford ends up being
I have no stomach for
third pairing defenseman. You cannot do that. You cannot do that.
Well, he's gone off since getting traded to the Brampton Bulldogs.
Oh, so is it Brampton?
No, the other black and yellow team.
Okay.
Yes,
Sorry.
there was like 3. Or 4. Anyway, he's doing really well there. That team is ridiculously stacked. No, I'm not implying they should buy. Don't continue to mortgage your future. You do have some nice things going for you in that regard. They're not going to help you anytime soon necessarily. You have too many guys. You got to make some hockey trades here. You cannot. There's 31 other teams. I refuse to accept that a trade can't be made now. And if you can't do it, then let's find someone who can.
If you're making a trade now and you're not buying, what are you doing?
You're making a hockey trade, like I said.
Okay, so in terms of what your expectations out of something like that would be, you're getting rid of some of the glut of forwards. Is that what you're suggesting?
Getting some of the glut of forwards. And I'm not married to any of these D-men. Like, if there's a Benoit move out there,
OEL. I would die for OEL.
If there's
but you should trade.
No, I'd like to keep him, but if there's a deal out there that makes you better, sure. Like, what defenseman should be protected? I'd do Tanev for the right reasons. You probably want to keep Tanev, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's staying in Toronto.
Yeah, I hope so. He's a great player. I just hope he's healthy.
I just think, you know what? You want to restock the cupboard. This is the year to start. You can tweak this. And I look at the Austin Matthews injuries, guys. He hasn't been good since 23-24, or at least good to his standard. He's good by NHL standards, but he's not been dominant.
He's the second highest paid player in the league.
Yeah, so sit him until he's healthy.
Oof.
I just don't understand why you would do it any other way. I like, unless you think really and truly that this team can turn it around. And Jess, I don't know. You're around the players. You're around the coach. Do they think that they can? Do you think that they believe
that they can win hockey games? Yeah.
Do you think that they believe that, do you feel like, because again, you've been in the arena, you've seen them in person. Do they play for each other?
I don't think I need to be in the arena to see that. I think our observations are not incorrect on how the team's playing for each other. They clearly don't have it right now. So
then what's the cutoff line? Is it the American Thanksgiving thing? Because that's 2 weeks away.
Cutoff line for what, though?
For what are we doing this year? What are we doing? Is it getting more clarity on the Matthews injury? You at a certain point as a general manager, you have to go, okay, there's a fork in the road and we're going this way. So where's the fork?
Every team.
What's that date look like?
Every team has guys who, for whatever reason, are struggling to make their lineup, right? And the Leafs have those too. Can you trade for a guy who's a better fit for your team than their current team? And in the process, maybe you give the other team a guy who it's a better opportunity for them. This is what I'm saying. This isn't. It's way too early for me to look at this season just pull the chute. I've done seasons where they've been bad, and I've had fun with it, and was able to laugh through the pain. I'm not there yet. They're 500. It's mid-November. I think we're still in problem-solving mode here. So what are the problems and how do we solve them? I think it's the good news, if you're into problem-solving, is there's so many problems. And I think you just go about solving them one at a time. If that makes sense.
Okay. So the first thing is goaltending then.
Okay.
So that's the first thing. Second thing is if you playing Hildeby and he gets you a 900 save percentage, you're happy with that because that's 25 points better than what you're currently getting. You're scoring goals. What do you do about the fact that teams are able to NHL 2012 you and just fire pucks across the ice, east-west, all the way, spread your defense out, spread your goaltending out? How do you stop that if you haven't been able to so far?
You've got to find someone who's good at disrupting, and you have to evaluate, is this a coaching problem? I mean, these players have been in the league a long time. You can ask them too. You could ask them in private or whatever. Like, the head coach having a direct line to the CEO is not how to run a business at all. I think that's actually a terrible idea, because what's the point of Brad then? You know, the CEO needs to be able to have an earnest conversation with Treliving and be like, is this working? Like,
I'm sure they're having that conversation this morning.
Good. I hope so. And I hope Berube is not a part of it. He's the head coach. He doesn't need to be. Like, at the end of the day, coaches are hired to be fired. So it is what it is. I never would have imagined they'd be in this position, but here we are, and it's clearly not working. They do not play for the guy. You know, Pete DeBoer has his problems. Every coach in the NHL has their problems, but you got a great, successful coach like that available. You have to look at it. Someone else is going to scoop him up, and then you're left with what?
Jesse, would you do that? Would you look at Pete DeBoer right now?
No, I don't think the coach is the problem. I think it's the players on the ice, and that would fall on Treliving for building the roster that's not compatible with the way hockey's going right now. Because I see like teams like the Ducks, and I see the Avalanche play like last night, and they're running up and down. You watch any team that plays the Leafs, they're getting so many rush chances, and there's so much speed in there, and I don't think they have the guys to compete with that. And play a style of hockey that's going to be successful right now. And I don't think that's on the coach. I don't think you give these guys a fourth head coach.
Can I offer a hot take? It's always the player's fault.
Yes.
It's, when a coach is fired, I think it's rarely fair. Like, when Sheldon Keefe was let go by the Leafs, I was struck by how much I was like, man, he really understands what their problem is. Like, it's bugging me.
Hello, everybody. I hope that you were sufficiently depressed by that clip. But you shouldn't be sufficiently depressed by this game if you're a Leafs fan. Even if you're a Kings fan, it's looked pretty good. To be standing tall for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs had a couple of pretty good just breaks. I got to be honest with you. Dumoulin got on the second LA Kings goal. I had a chance to look at it again. Brian Dumoulin was on the ice, and I think he was brought down by Bobby McMahon, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, stick hits him in the face, and he just kind of lies there. And I kind of feel like, I know he was trying to draw a penalty, but he did sort of pull the chute on the play. Like, I would have been screaming at my TV to get up. So, Northern Grace, why does Adam's stash remind me of Hulk Hogan's? Well, it's not blonde, brother, but it's the same shape. I wish Hulk Hogan was a better guy. I was a big Hulk Hogan fan when I was a kid. Who wasn't? Mr. HJ says, hey, Adam, here's a gifted sub. Headed to the gym. We'll listen in. Cheers from Prince Rupert, BC. Thank you, Mr. HJ. Nice to have you along. Shout out to everybody. By the way, let's do a little city check-in. Everybody, first off, if you haven't liked us, grab a little like on that video. I want to know where everybody's tuning in from at the start of this second period. Put it in the chat. Where are you tuning in from? What do we got? What do we got? We got Chicago. We got Timmins, we got Toronto, we got Scarborough. Hey, that's Toronto. Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, we're in Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia is not a city. I lived in Nova Scotia. Many cities in Nova Scotia. Nanaimo, BC, London. Which one? Ontario or England? Minnesota, New Westminster, BC, Elmira, Nanaimo, Pensacola, Florida, Bloomfield, Colorado, Edmonton. Really? Thank you. Love when Alberta tunes in. Washington, D.C., Kingston, Ontario, Bermuda. Damn, San Jose, California. We love that. Shout out San Jose, California. Windsor, Scarborough, Vegas, baby. Scranton, PA. Home of the world's greatest paper company. Calgary, Alberta. Prince George. Port Charlotte, Florida. I've never been there. Bob Cajun, Brantford, Austin, Texas. Summerside, PEI, one of the most beautiful places on earth. There is nothing like PEI in the summertime. Yeah, it's the greatest. New York, Halifax, Pittsburgh. A lot of good Canadian boys in here, boys and girls in here, beauties. Sydney, Australia, Quebec. What is it? Matin? Yuba Situ, California. I've never heard of Yuba Situ. Spruce Grove, Alberta, Peterborough, Ontario, North Carolina, Albany. Oh, it's Yuba City. Wow. Okay. Dennis Hildeby does not have a stick, by the way. LA has come out flying with this first line. It's Kempe, Kopitar, and strangely enough, Yoel Armia. I want to, yeah, thank you, Hayden. I will for sure get to those because that's actually really important. Corey Perry, who's been, I want to look up Corey Perry's stats here while I got you guys because I think Edmonton's struggling a bit this year because they've lost a lot of depth. Warren Fogle, Corey Perry in like forward depth. Corey Perry, Warren Fogle in Los Angeles. And of course, St. Louis has Holloway and Broberg. Corey Perry this season in 11 games has 7 goals and 4 assists. Corey Perry is 40 years old. He was drafted in 2003. In 2003, I was finishing grade 9. Hayden, my producer, was 6 years old, the same age as my daughter. Did I tell you guys I was at parent-teacher interviews today? My kid's in grade 1. Did a parent-teacher interview. I was like, there's times where like I don't feel like I'm an old man or a dad or anything. Corey Perry, by the way, in the box, and he's pissed about it. I don't think Corey Perry's ever not yelling at somebody from the box when he gets called on a penalty. Corey Perry never did it. He never did anything wrong. But there is a reason we call him the Worm. I had a parent-teacher interview, and Everly is doing great. Apparently a social butterfly. Who could have thought? Likes to talk to everybody. In fact, doesn't stop talking, which was the same criticism I got. doesn't stop. But at least she's a nice kid. I'll get to them in a bit. 16:34 left in the second period. We got 90 seconds left on this power play. Oliver Ekman-Larsson already with a great setup tonight on the John Tavares goal, which was goal number 2. William Nylander took a penalty and then almost had a breakaway. Oh, okay. I want to talk about something. Did you just see what happened there? Max Domi at the blue line trying to bring the puck across. Max Domi needs to take 2 steps across the blue line before stopping up like that. It happens all the time where Max is at the blue line, and I don't even know if he knows he's doing it, but he stops up and no one else expects him to do it, and it puts everybody offside. It happens a lot. Once you see it, like now that I've mentioned it to you, you're going to see it a lot more. And it's because like he's a brilliant playmaker. For whatever warts Max has in his game, guy's got great vision. It's the right thing to do if everybody on the ice knows you're going to do it. Oh, here we go. Michelli out front to McMahon. What a great setup. Now, talk about another guy with great vision. Matthias Michelli with a great pass. Kings come right back, put a shot on Hildeby. He turns that aside easily. Nick Waugh, Morgan Riley, Bobby McMahon, Nicholas Robertson, and Matthias Michelli out for this second power play unit. Craig Berube giving them a little bit of time here. McMahon, down low to Waugh. Back to McMahon. Down low to Waugh again. Nobody in front of the net. So Waugh has to put it back up to the point to Michelli over to Riley. Riley shoots it in. Puck is a little high to be tipped. Kings get possession, and they dump it down the ice. There's 15 seconds to go. Tavares, Nyes, and I think Nylander are out there as the period ends. That's kind of a smart play by Berube, actually. Get the once the power play is over, first line out there, make sure they're fresh. Keep the pressure up. Why not? I didn't mind that. Tavares, shot, and it's kind of deflected by Cody Ceci, easily handled by Darcy Kemper. Shots 11-7 LA. Treeway says, wasn't Matthew Schaefer 12 when COVID started? Yes. Matthew Schaefer, who is the best young defenseman in the NHL, like breaking Bobby Orr scoring records already, was 12 years old when COVID started. Doug Leafan, is Austin brittle, and will this be his career? I don't think he's brittle. I think that as a star player, you're going to take a lot of beatings. And I'll be honest with you. The Leafs have not done a great job ever protecting him. Nobody's afraid that something's going to happen to them if they hit Austin. That's why the next time the Leafs play Boston, I hope they dress Michael Pezzetta because he's crazy. Michael Pezzetta is nuts, and he's injured right now. But once he's healthy, put Michael Pezzetta in. Someone takes a run at Matthews again, and it'll be Zadorov. Make sure Michael Pezzetta and Zadorov are on the ice at the same time. And if Zadorov doesn't want the fight, it doesn't matter. Let Michael Pezzetta take him. You got to do that stuff, right? We have to, like, as you know, Austin is closing in on 30 years old, which is kind of nuts. You have to start protecting this player, especially now. Your body just doesn't snap back the same way in your late 20s as it does in your early. You get sore. Hangovers last longer. You guys know. And Zadorov, honestly, could not be a more perfect Bruin. If he wasn't from Russia, he'd be from Massachusetts. He's perfect. He's perfect. Hayden says, who's the most Bruin you've ever watched live? Well, Brad Marchand. But I think another guy that never gets the credit he deserves because he got traded, I think, too early is Johnny Boychuk. Johnny Bruin. Just a tough, mean defenseman who was dependable. That's a Boston-ass Bruin right there, even though he spent a lot of time with the Islanders. You think Sean Thornton? That's a good pick. I like that one. A lot of character guys who are tough as nails there. And there's an attitude to being a Bruins. Doug Leafan, I wish the Leafs played for each other like the Jays did. Well, listen, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is now. So, play for each other tonight. First period you did. Keep it going. Other dreams. Hey, we miss Grandpa Worm in Edmonton. I know. He was a big part of that team. Oh, and they score. Is that Brant Clark? No, it's Warren Fogle. Hildeby missed that one because I think he was screened. And the Leafs, this is where the Leafs begin to annoy you. They've been pretty good all game, but LA was pushing. You could feel the Leafs on their heels. And I think when we see the replay here, you're going to watch Doughty makes the pass to Fogle. Where is Carlo on the gap up? Carlo does not, and so obviously the forward does not get his guy, but gap up on this guy. I guess Carlo was sort of blocked there. Okay, I'm not going to blame him for that. Blade does not get back in time. Okay. Yeah, Carlo and Deneau were tied up. I didn't see that the first time. Okay, it's the NHL. Goals go in. Here's what I don't like. Shots are now 15-6. We came into this it looked like the Leafs had a seventh shot there, but we came into this period, I think the shots were 9-6. Now they're 15-6. LA came to play in the second period. Toronto has not so far. And obviously you're going to have that from time to time, but like, let's get our shit back together and put a chokehold on this game. RCF says, got stuck at work. Please sum up the game so far. Really good first period for the Leafs. Great breakaway goal from Bobby McMahon. Great John Tavares goal in tight in the dirty areas. Really good first period for the Leafs. Second period has been basically all LA. Also, let's be honest, the Leafs suck in the second period this year. It was their strongest period last year by far. This year in the second period, they are lost. I don't understand it. I don't know how that, like, what do you lose over the summer where the second period goes from your strength to your absolute weakness? Now, we can also say that the Leafs goaltending has been objectively awful. Caden Primo could never play for them again. After that last start, and which, by the way, I did the stream for that too. Hayden, I think, was on that one. It was like the worst start I've ever seen. Then Anthony Stolarz, he's either lost his confidence or he's hurt or both. Obviously, he is hurt. Dude, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. So now you're in a position where you got to have Hildeby. And you got to hope that Hildeby is sharp in the second period, unlike the Leafs. Mustard on the beach ho says, Adam, before the Canucks signed David Kampf to stir the second line center after termination, LOL, those of us in Van, give us 3 positive traits about his game. Well, first off, I think David Kampf is going to Montreal. That's my guess. Because Montreal needs, I mean, Oliver Kapanen's been pretty good, but I think you need a little more strength through the middle there. But if I were to say 3 great things about David Kampf's game, good face-off winner, spectacular 5-on-5 defensive player. So if you want to have him out there in a high leverage situation, you can. Very good penalty killer as well. Don't expect any goals. Although there was one season where he had more than 10 goals with Toronto, but like that's an aberration. That'll never happen again. Nylander was just hooked down there and there's no call. If that puck goes in, I would be pretty upset. Nylander should have absolutely drawn a penalty there. I don't know what the hell the ref's thinking. Leafs now back to 7 shots. Oh, big save by Hildeby on Kevin Fiala, who did a nice little back foot toe drag there. That was cool. I think David Kampf is a useful NHL center. Good checking center. Not overly physical. But I think any team that gets him, the Leafs were paying him about $1 million too much every year. And so they were in a cap crunch situation, couldn't have him on the roster. So yeah, I think anybody that gets him, they're getting a very, very good hockey player and a motivated hockey player. Remember, he just walked away from $3.3 million. $3.3 million. That's how bad he wants it. And you know he wants to be on the Czech Olympic team. That's probably what he's worried about. So you sign him for $1 million, $1.5 million. That's a great center, great value. You can scratch him without feeling worried about it. At one point, he had played like 350 straight games. Sheldon Keefe liked him. Leafs had no center depth back then, though. I don't know if he would have been Sheldon's first choice, but I think he's a valuable guy. Phenom ends year more points. Who ends the year with more points? Celebrini or Bedard? Both are at 26. Trick question. The answer is Leo Carlsson. Hottest player in the NHL right now, Leo Carlsson. But yeah, if I'm going to bet on it, I would say Macklin Celebrini does. Between those two. Big play there. Nick Waugh with a nice little tip. Kemper is wise to it, is able to stop it. Dakota Mermis sends a floater in. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who's been spectacular for the Leafs this season, is just making things happen on the offensive side of the puck. Doug Leafan, if Austin isn't healthy, he shouldn't play for Team USA. Yeah, well, he wasn't healthy last year and he played for Team USA, so good luck with that. I know that's nice in theory, but yeah, like good luck. It's the Olympics. He's playing. Robert Bet 1133. I know it sounds like an excuse, but do you think playing in Switzerland hurt Matthews by not playing his junior career and playing in the A? Absolutely not. He was a point-a-game player in Switzerland. He played great, and I think it got him ready for the NHL. He was playing against men at 18 years old, and he also made $1 million. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go bill it in Sarnia, or I could go live in Switzerland with my mom and my sister, make $1 million, and get ready for the NHL and be the first overall pick. No question. That never hurt his game. I think it helped his game, and I think more players should do it. You look at what's going on with Gavin McKenna right now. I don't know if you guys know this, but his stock has fallen a little bit at Penn, or is it Penn State? Where is he playing? Penn State? Penn State. And from what I've heard, I was talking to somebody today who really knows their stuff. They told me that Penn State feels a bit like a country club for certain athletes. And if you've watched any of Gavin McKenna's games, it's not that he's not talented. It's apparently that the effort's not there. Oh, man, Hildeby gets run over here. But at least the Leafs are showing some fight. Clark and Fogle in there. Yeah, so Gavin McKenna just there are whispers that he perhaps has disappointed a lot of scouts, but I mean, he's still going first overall. And I know people are talking about that defenseman in the WHL. It's not a competition, guys. Don't believe the hype. Gavin McKenna's going first overall. All right. Now, I want to remind you that we've got a prop bet, and we've already made good on one of the three things, okay? And we're halfway to number 2. Actually, Hayden, did Kopitar get a point on that goal? Check into that. Oh, he didn't get a point. Okay, so here's what it is. It's the Bally Bet SDPN Thursday night watch along, hosted by me, Adam Wylde. And here's the deal. Steve's got his parlay ready. He calls it the King Me Bet. Kopitar with a point, which he does not have yet. Tavares with a point, which he does have. And 6 total goals. We're halfway there. Already got 3 in the game. If it happens, we got some boosted odds at Bally Bet right now. And fans, you can use the promo code SDPN to unlock a 100% profit boost each Saturday for the rest of the season. This is in addition to Bally Bet's site-wide welcome offer where you get $50 in bonus bets when you wager $10. Now, it's only valid in the United States, and I know we got a lot of Americans tuning in, but if you're in Ontario, we're cooking up something special for you. Not quite ready yet, but it's coming. It's coming. D49 says, Comp, great guy to start every overtime. Yeah, okay. So for anybody's team, anybody who's watching that team might sign David Kampf, Sheldon Keefe used to do this stupid thing. Drove me crazy, where he would put Marner, Riley, and David Kampf out to start every overtime. And David Kampf's entire job was to win the opening faceoff. And if he won the opening faceoff, then he would skate immediately to the bench and Austin would come on. Austin's a good faceoff winner, but David Kampf slightly better. Now, if he didn't win the faceoff draw, which, you know, even the best faceoff guys like Patrice Bergeron would put in like 59%. That was crazy. That means out of every 10 faceoffs, Bergeron would be losing 4 of them. So Kampf wasn't quite there, but he was pretty good. And so basically you're losing half the faceoff draw. So half the time in overtime, the Leafs would be stuck out there with people ragging the puck with Riley and Marner and David Kampf. It used to drive me bonkers. It was just one of those, sometimes you're too close to the picture to see the painting. That was, and every coach is guilty of this. It just happens. It just drove me nuts. I can't believe that management let him do it. Arismix 23, Spencer Knight backup in the USA in Milan. Well, who do you have? You got Hellebuck obviously starting. Who are they? Otter's looking just okay. But here's the thing. Jordan Binnington looks like crap. Like, the Blues are one of the worst teams in the league. And we know that Jordan Binnington will start the Olympics for Team Canada. The way USA Hockey is going to look at this is, how do you do in the playoffs? And Ottinger has looked pedestrian many times in the regular season, but he turns it on for the big games like Binnington did. So I have a feeling Ottinger will be there and will be the backup. Spencer Knight, it'd be great to get him some experience, because I don't think in 2030, I think it's going to be Knight versus probably Jake Ottinger, unless there's some sort of emergent goaltender in that time, which can always happen. So, yeah, Swayman's American too. Yeah, I don't think so. I think Swayman's going. I think you put Swayman in there. Swayman had a bad year last year, but he missed training camp. So I love Spencer Knight. I think he's been great, but I just don't know. They're pretty deep at that position. Puppy Girl 2023. Love the handlebars, Adam. Keep up the great work. Thank you. It's for Movember. Hayden, do we have that link in the description? So the link is in the description. Rob Malloy, who's doing the chat tonight for SDPN. Everybody say hi, Rob. is going to put it in the chat. If you do want to donate to Movember, we would much appreciate it. It goes to men's mental and physical health issues like testicular cancer, suicide prevention. And it's a spectacular sort of cause. And Steve and Jesse and I are all growing ridiculous mustaches this year. Mine is modeled off the legend Dennis Maruk, the forgotten 60-goal man. Ken Reed wrote an entire book about Dennis Maruk. We had him on the podcast back in the day. So I wanted to have this stash in his honor. Rocket Man, Canes do the exact same thing with Stahl in overtime. LOL. Yeah, man. Like, it's just, I don't know. Yeah. So here's the thing. Hayden's in my ear about that. He's like, yeah, they put Stahl out there in overtime, but at least it's Jordan Stahl. It's not David Goff. Jordan Stahl has always been a pretty strong defensive center. Yeah. So you know what I mean? It's still Jordan Stahl. Thomas Whitlock, Fox, and Slavin makes the job easier for USA. No kidding. What a great defense pairing. Yeah, also, I thought that was the best hockey that Adam Fox played all year last year was that Four Nations. Slavin was a freaking monster. Here comes Robertson in on Kemper, who puts it off to the corner. Robertson actually wins. Momentarily wins. And he's pulled on him and Drew Doughty are getting into it. I have to give Robertson a lot of credit there. He's been a total dog this year, and he just got in on Drew Doughty and almost stripped him of the puck, but he had no support. Drew Doughty did, and Drew Doughty's defense partner, Mikey Anderson, got it. Steven Lorentz tries to flip the puck in. It is batted out of the air by the LA Kings, and back to the Leafs blue line where Carlo and I don't know who's on the ice with him. Leafs come in offside. Carmine says, hey, it's a contract year for Robertson. Buddy, it's always a contract year for Robertson. He's been on like consecutive one-year deals. But I really like the way he's played this year. The one thing, the knock against him when he came out, I think he was at Peterborough Pete. The knock against him was that he was not the best skater. And he also doesn't have the size that his brother Jason does. But, dude, he's got a crazy shot. And when you watch him play, he still falls too much, but his skating is much improved. And he does not stop his feet ever. Not ever. Which I really appreciate. Hayden's saying he looks more solid on his feet this year than he does in past years. I agree, Hayden. So if you got, I don't know how many, there's a lot of Kings fans in the chat tonight, but if you watch Nick Robertson 2 years ago and last year, it's progressively gotten better. 2 years ago, when Keefe was still the coach, you'd put Nick Robertson out there and he'd fall twice a shift. And there'd be nobody around. It'd be like, Nick, stay on what's going on here? But obviously the Leafs have Barb Underhill at their disposal. Great skating coach, like legendary. And he's clearly taken that to heart. And the last couple of years has been a huge, huge upswing. I still saw a couple falls tonight, Hayden, to your point, that I didn't like, that are like, okay, Nick, what are we doing here? But you saw him challenge Drew Doughty there, and Drew Doughty is one of the best defensemen to ever play hockey, and he almost stripped him. And then Drew put his stick into Robertson's face, and Robertson basically grabbed his stick and tried to skate away with it. Like, there's some pluck in that guy. That's kind of the attitude I want the Leafs to play with. Robert Bett, try growing a Shaq stash. I don't know what that looks like. By the way, everybody, can I make a request? Can I get everybody to hit like? We've only got 389 of you hitting like. I think we need some likes. Oh, I love this. Ethan Booker, Adam, did you see the new Anaheim Ducks Crocs that look like flippers and they're selling them at all their home games? Yes, I love them. It's a great promotion. So they have Crocs. Look, I got Crocs. Crocs like this, only they're orange and they look like duck flippers. How cool is that? What a great idea, especially in Orange County where it's warm most of the time. Jeff says, can we stop bringing up Marner? Who brought up Marner? We're not bringing up Marner. He's so yesterday. Okay. Since LA is in town, I'm going to speak like I'm from the hills. Get out of here. Hayden's asking how the Kings got to the. Well, they got on the 400 and they went over to the 404 and down to the 401. And then they took front straight. Get out of here. Steve Schiller. Adam, what are you doing here? The Californians is such an elite skit. I've watched that 4,000 times. I still find it funny. It's also funny watching people who live in LA not be able to do the LA accent. Like they've had actors on there who can't do it. Stuart, get out of here. The Californians. 17-7 are the shots. If you're wondering, the Leafs have, I think, recorded a shot this period. Not excellent. I wouldn't say that LA's been extraordinarily dangerous, but I would say the Leafs have spent an inordinate amount of time in their own zone. I don't think it's a lack of effort. I think it's a lack of talent in the lineup. LA's looked good this year. A little bit of a slow start, but they're strong. Also, I'll never not love Kevin Fiala. Guy's he's like a water bug out there. Love watching him play hockey, except for when it's against me. Oh, and there you go. There's Fiala scoring. There it is. You knew LA was going to tie this sucker up eventually if they kept playing like that. Hayden said he got his own rebound 3 times. Let's watch the replay here. Poor Hildeby, by the way. He's been great. So Fiala gets shot, rebound. Shot, rebound. Scores. Wow. Hayden, you weren't wrong. Shot, rebound. Yeah. What the F are they doing on defense? The Leafs still look like it's been better today, but they still look like we don't know where we should be. And some of this stuff is literally house league level, right? Hey, that's my man. That's my man's. Find your man's and hold on to your man's. Lock them down like you're getting married. Sedin Magic 15, I think you spoke that one into existence. Man, I told you, I love Kevin Fiala. The guy rocks. He's such a good hockey player. And I'm angry that he's playing us tonight. I'd love him to be lighting somebody else up. Thomas Whitlock, 42. Every game, it's like 5 people puck watching. Yep. And listen, Hildeby's looking good. 2 goals and 20 shots. That's a 900 save percentage. That's what you expect. This is look at Nylander. Nylander just gives up on this play. If Nylander had wanted to, he could have intercepted that Byfield play. And look, Berube is giving him shit. So he might be tired on that play, but don't fucking give up, Willie. Come on. Listen, it's one. Yeah, Hayden just pointed out, tripled up on shots. Shots are now 21-7. For anybody that's bad at math, like I am, 7 times 3 is 21. Here's the deal. With William Nylander, you're out there to score goals. And in order to score goals, you have to play defense so you can get the puck. If he had his man and his man was Byfield, he probably could have stolen the puck. And this doesn't happen. Gonna need the $11.5 million player to be a leader. I know he doesn't wear an A. I'm gonna need you to be engaged, Willie. Gonna need you to be engaged. Oh, Dallas is apparently killing Montreal 5-0. ZZ Cannibal, at what point do you get in the tank and pick up McKenna? I think that pick already belongs to the Calgary Flames. Adam Neclario? Adam, I never get your last name right. You already know Kopitar is scoring an OT. First career goal in Toronto in his last game. Buddy, I told you the Steve Dangle parlay has Anze Kopitar getting a point tonight. Did he get a point on that second goal? Hayden, can we look at the box score? I don't think he did. I don't even know if he was on the ice. Fiala from Byfield. Okay. So that's what I mean. If Willie picks up Byfield, we don't have a goal there. Yeah, so we're waiting for an Anze Kopitar goal. He's never scored in this building. Can the Leafs career shutout Anze Kopitar? I think it's less than ideal that this is the team that has to stop him. But if you remember, the Leafs also had like guys like Vesa Toskala playing for them. And Kopitar didn't score on them either. So, yay. Chris says Fiala was Nylander's man, right? Well, I could see how Willie, if he was coming towards the end of the shift, at very least, grab the guy that's close into the net and get the rebound, freeing up one of McCabe or Benoit to take someone else. All right, 2:56. By the way, for anybody wondering, I'm watching on the Sportsnet app. All right, Tavares wins the draw to Ekman Larson, to Benoit with a shot. Tavares behind the net. Let's see if the Leafs can get one here. Hopefully. Oh, yeah! Oh, my. Oh, it was Willie. It was Willie to Tavares. Willie makes up for his BS defense and sets up Johnny T. Johnny Toronto. Big flipping goal. That's the Leafs' third shot this period. Sad, but it's their third goal this game. Happy. Listen, one thing I got to tell you is that the Toronto Maple Leafs are efficient when they score goals. They don't get a lot of shots, but they do. They do get, is it Tavares? Oh. According to Nick Barden, this is a really good tweet. Last season, it took John Tavares 22 games to reach 10 goals. He reached the mark in 18 games this season, the fastest he's done it since he was first with the Maple Leafs in 2018. And that's when he was playing with Marner every game. That's when he had 47 goals. So I believe that takes him to 12 total goals on the season, which is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. LOL podcast fan page. Let's go Leafs. Who are you? Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Nylander and Nyes with assists on that. Both of them getting their 17th. Listen, Nylander taketh away, and Nylander giveth. I know I'm using the phrase incorrectly, but you know what I mean. Nylander blew a defensive assignment. Kings tied it. Nylander gets out on the next shift, sets up Johnny Toronto for a goal. Okay, fine. I'll take it if I have to. Dakota Mermis and OEL are out there. The Leafs took Philip Myers out of the lineup. He was taking penalties. He was making dumb, bad plays. Dakota Mermis has looked pretty good tonight. And you know how you know Dakota Mermis has looked pretty good tonight with OEL? You haven't heard me talk about him. Sometimes the best defense in the league are the guys you don't ever mention. The stars, you expect to mention them. The Doughties, Mikey Anderson, Morgan Riley, OEL in this game. I don't want to hear much more than Dakota Mermis gets the puck to the forward from the play-by-play guys. That's all I need to hear. Dakota Mermis blocks a shot. Max. If I hear anything else, I'm scared. 1:43 left in the second period. Kings pressing yet again, but the puck is not able to stay in. Leafs have just played not great in clearing their own zone all period long. LA's been pressing. Our good buddy, the Beast, is looking really strong. Listen, I got a question here. Joseph Woll is not ready. I know they were talking about Joseph Woll in the first intermission panel and playing him Saturday against the Blackhawks. Are they aware that he has let in 6 goals in a game and a half at the AHL? I don't think he's ready yet. And the Hawks have good defense. Play him against the Blues next Tuesday. Okay? Oh, Nylander behind the net. Kopitar takes him down. Nice. Woo! Over to Tavares. Hey, Leafs pressing. How about that? Maybe they'll get a 10th shot. Might they? Here comes Nylander. In down to Tavares. Oh, they're trying to find Johnny T. Are we on hat trick watch, by the way, for Johnny T? I think we are. 47 seconds left to go. Anyway, I don't think Joseph Woll's ready. Hildeby's looking good. Just play Hildeby. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't let him get shelled, is my point. He missed training camp. Look what happened to Jeremy Swayman last year when he missed training camp. He played like fart. And he's a spectacular goalie. It's really hard for goalies to recover from missing training camp. Give him time. Do not rush this man. Play him against the Blues. They stink. Can't score. Byfield down low. We got 12 seconds to go here. Hopefully the Leafs do not give up an opportunity in front of the net. Oh, it bounced over the stick of the LA Kings forward. I didn't see the number. I don't know who it was. Oh, another play in deep. Quentin Byfield's line is looking real strong right now, and the period mercifully ends. Man, listen, second periods for the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, if I were to tell you it was an Achilles heel, I would be understating that. It's like a nuclear bomb every single time the second period hits. But the Leafs survived this one. They let in 2 goals, but they score one. They still got the lead, and we're going to the third period. The Leafs still have less than 10 shots in the whole damn game. Tofu Tomo says, Wall worth a fantasy pickup? I have Saros, Wall, and Dobish. I think so. Keep them. Dobish and Saros. Saros has been brutal for me. I have Saros too. But Dobish has been sick. What's that, Hayden? Oh, yeah, Dobish is getting shelled tonight. I hope he didn't start him tonight. Robert Bett, like my father used to say, if I hope Hamilton never gets a hockey team because Toronto will want one too. Yep. Your father was right. Hey, by the way, we still have, we're 1 for 3 on the Bally bet. Okay. So Steve's got his king bet, he calls it. It's a parlay. And they've juiced the odds for you too, which is pretty cool. So you can sign up a Bally bet. It's Tavares with a point. He's got 2 goals. It's Kopitar with a point, still doesn't have one. And we are 1 goal away from being 2 for 3 on this parlay because Steve said 6+ on the goals. So I think we're getting another goal in the third period, one way or the other. So I think it's a pretty safe one. If you took that parlay, I think you're in good shape. Steve's pretty good at this. So Habs are getting killed tonight. 3-2 Leafs, by the way, is the score. On your Bally Bet SDPN watch along. Hayden, what kind of clip do we have in the intermission? How long is it? Okay. How much time do we have left? Okay. I'm going to stay on just a couple minutes. Let's get to the out-of-town scoreboard. So the Stars are crushing the Montreal Canadiens right now, 5-0. 5-0. Oh. Okay, that's nuts. Oh, it's glitched out again. I'm just going to go to the... What's going on there, Hayden? All right, let me get that out-of-town scoreboard. All right, so here we go. Panthers up on the Capitals. It's 3-1 in the second period there. Wings and Ducks are squaring off 3-2 for the Red Wings against my Anaheim Ducks. How dare they? Stars up 5-0 on the Canadiens. Senators up 2-1 on the Bruins. Sens, it's so funny. Sens fans had such high expectations coming into this game or in this season, and they've been so disappointed with the play of guys like Linus Ullmark and some other guys. And I'm looking at that team. And I'm like, yo, when you guys get Brady back, it's gonna be fine. He's back in a few weeks. Blue Jackets up 2-0 on the Oilers. Bad for my fantasy team. Bad for Edmonton. I know there's some people from Edmonton watching tonight. Buddy, what is up with the Oilers? Dude, what are we doing here? Later on tonight, the Sabres and Avalanche will play. I think the Avs are winning the cup. Flames and Sharks. That will be an interesting game. One of the new best goalies in the league versus one of the new best centers in the league. Celebrini versus Dustin Wolf. I love games like that. Young players. Maybe the teams are not going to get into the playoffs this year, but that's a cool matchup. I always like when 2 great teams face off, it's always exciting. When 2 bad teams face off, but they got young, exciting players, game worth watching. And that starts in about 15 minutes. Islanders and Golden Knights are playing at 10 o'clock, and Jets and Kraken also play at 10 o'clock. So we're going to play a little clip, and this is from the CJ show earlier this week. Hayden, what is it about? Oh, it's from today. What's it about? Is a rebuild in Toronto on the table. And by the way, there's been a couple of people who suggested it in the chat tonight. So if you wanted a rebuild in Toronto, Chris Johnson is going to tell you whether or not it's actually possible right now. And I will see you at the start of the third period.
I watched the LFR from Steve Dangle on Wednesday morning. He doesn't seem like things are going too well, especially after last night's game where not only do the Leafs lose, Austin Matthews and Anthony Stolarz don't finish the game. Can we start with an injury update on those two? What have you been hearing on those guys?
Well, in Matthews' case, it doesn't sound like it's anything too serious. Don't have any concrete timelines, but kind of the expectation that I've been given is, wouldn't expect to see him Thursday when the Leafs host LA. They go to Chicago on Saturday. Don't know if he'll be able to get in there, but I don't think this is, for Austin Matthews, at least at the outset, looking like a long-term, injury situation, which is obviously a good thing. As much as, yes, the team has struggled of late and he maybe hasn't scored at some of his previous levels. I mean, this guy's still basically on a 50-goal pace and, is clearly a key member of what the Leafs need to get going to turn things around. Stolarz, Craig Berube after the game in Boston didn't seem to think it was going to be anything too serious as well. But, the larger issue with him is he's played a lot of games. Having his goaltending partner, Joseph Wall, be away from the team, for personal reasons, has not necessarily set him up to have the best start to the season. And certainly he's had a big decline in his performance so far. So, I don't get the sense that either of these are going to be super serious. But, at the same time, it's the cavalry isn't back right away, and you still got Chris Tanev on the sidelines, Scott Laughton, and on top of that, you just have a Leafs team that hasn't put it all together yet in a way that they would like to. So they're kind of in one. They're not alone in the league. There's a few other teams, Vancouver kind of in the same spot with some injured players and needing something good to start happening, and it's harder and harder to do that when you don't have the full complement of players. But in Toronto, 15 goals against in 3 games kind of tells a story to me. I mean, obviously there's a story within that story, but the Leafs have scored more than enough goals to have more wins than they do, but they've had trouble keeping it out of their net for a variety of reasons. And frankly, trouble getting it out of the zone, I think the defensive zone has been probably at the root of their issues. And so they've been outplayed to quite handily at 5-on-5 in these games.
What I'm hearing is there are a whole bunch of issues that maybe at some point the general manager, Brad Treliving, has to deal with, either through some kind of acquisition or something has to change with their lineup. Because right now, yes, their record is at 500, but to see them take this step back from what we've seen of the Leafs for the last how many seasons, something feels really off. I wonder what could be done for Brad Treliving, and how hot should his seat be as general manager?
This is where he's earning his money. That's the way I look at it. I mean, I think most listeners of our pod will know you come here not for the hot takes. And so the way I look at the Leafs situation is thusly. This is when everyone is going to have lots of big ideas. This is going to be you have to start the rebuild in Toronto on one end to you've got to fire the head coach to, any number of things. I think if you cut through the noise and look at really what's happening though, the Leafs, the blue line is not moving the puck very well. And, I think that is a big issue is, you saw the Carolina game was at an extreme end on Sunday night, but once the Hurricanes got their forecheck going, like the Leafs were just stuck in their own zone. And the interesting part of Toronto's season to me, you look at William Nylander, he's actually having a hell of a year. John Tavares at his age, especially, but forget that piece of context, just straight up look at his point totals and some of the numbers under it. He's having a good year. Even as I mentioned, Austin Matthews, who I don't think has been at the previous levels we've seen him when he's been at his best. But he's not having a poor year. He's having maybe a small downtick from where he's been, but again, still a 50-goal player. Like if he had 3 more goals to this point in the season, they might not even have any more wins. Like they might have just still won the same number of games. It's not excusing the top players because, as I say, I do think, especially with Matthews, there's a higher ceiling to get to there. But it kind of raises overall questions about the talent level on the roster, some of the things that sort of the trade-ins they've made, right? And, prioritizing certain areas of the game. it's very, I think the hard part for if you're Brad Treliving is knowing where the truth lies here, because they really haven't been either at their best together. They've been injured. I mean, it's just been one of those years. Like, I think trying to not overreact in this moment is particularly tough because, at a certain point, maybe you have to change course and say, this isn't it. Clearly the Leafs could use on a bigger level an injection of talent. I think another defenseman for me seems like we're not there yet, but as we get into the season a little deeper, I think that's where this is where the conversation I predict is going. A lot of people in Toronto have been talking about them needing another top six forward, which would be nice. It would be a luxury. It would be great if that person was out there, but I'm not sure if it will be. But I would not be at all surprised to see them put a lot of their efforts as the season goes along into adding to the blue line, because that to me has been where a lot of the problems have started and ended. And yes, they could be propped up by better goaltending. Yes, we can find a clip or two of a forward not, defending in a way you would want. But I think largely the issues stem from the makeup of the blue line, and they have been injured there. It's a long way of saying I don't know that they can trade their way out of this. I do think that this is going to be the biggest test Brad Treliving's faced since he's come to Toronto, because a lot of people have a lot of opinions, and it's getting late. Like, I'm not here to sit here and say, hey, you have to be patient. But I think not making a bad decision under this current duress is imperative. And, I don't know where he goes next. So, I'm sure, like most GMs, you almost want to give your team enough time to correct the problems, because I think when you have a team with the kind of skill the Leafs have, I really do believe there's a better team in there than what we've seen to start this season. But you also can't ignore the results, and they haven't played very well. The product isn't good to watch. And, the coach, well, I'm certainly not saying this is only a coaching issue. The coach is pushing a lot of buttons, and he's obviously had some pretty frank assessments of their play, and he hasn't got a response either. So, this is a big spot for Toronto, and they're still well within a spot to make the playoffs. They haven't dug that big a hole, but they can't let this slide go on much longer.
Knowing you enough and how you feel about rebuilds, how do you feel when you hear certain fans say, man, maybe this is the year we find a way to tank for Gavin McKenna? I mean, that top five, that pick is top 5 protected. Just in my head, when I hear that, I'm like, really, guys? Like, come on. Like, this team can't be so bad where you're hoping that they bottom out in that way. But this is just coming from me as someone who's not in that fan base or is not in that market. So I'm curious for your thoughts when you hear people say that maybe you got to find a way to go for a top 5 pick in this year's draft.
To me, that's dreaming in Technicolor. I just think the Leafs have too much skill for that to happen. I mean, I suppose there could be some calamity of injuries that creates a circumstances where they completely nosedive. I mean, even where we're sitting here and we're both saying, yeah, we haven't seen this team play anywhere near what's good enough or what they should want. I mean, they're still a long way from bottom 5 in the league. I think they're on pace for about 89 points or something at the current rate, or 88
They're fighting
points.
for a playoff spot.
But the point is I realize that's below where they want to be, and I'm not saying that's acceptable, but that's a long, long way from the 57 points it might take to get, to have the best odds at winning the draft lottery. Now, if they miss the playoffs and they're within the certain range, they could still, I guess, move up and, pick high. We saw Utah last year didn't miss the playoffs by too much and jumped all the way up and made a top 5 pick. So, I mean, anything is possible, but I don't think the Leafs are in that conversation just yet. And certainly I have no reason to believe. I don't even know if it's so obvious I shouldn't say this, but just so anyone could be clear, it is not in the eyes of Leafs management or ownership where they're rebuilding. Now, I'm not saying they won't get there at some point in time. Like, you can't rule it out. But, not even 20 games into the season, they took the Florida Panthers to 7 games in the second round last year. And, I do think it's the key is, I'll say this, the key to avoid the big, huge rebuild where you get rid of everything is, I think, being proactive and deciding when the moment is to start the refresh. Like, sometimes you got to do it before everyone else sees that it's obvious that you're doing it. It's just too early. It's still too early for me with the Leafs. Now, that being said, look, they need to be in trade markets. They need to be looking for ways to, to try to lift the ceiling of this group. I think, you know, the Leafs don't have as much skill as they once did. I understand the push towards grit and other things that they feel might help them come playoff time. But at a certain point in time, you know, you need a team that can play with the puck. And, you know, they don't have that right now. I mean, the shot metrics for this team are ugly, especially for a team that's supposed to be, you know, winning a lot in the league. And as I say, the thing that I find most troubling is their top players have actually played. If you remove all the outrage and people just being upset in general in Toronto, like those guys individually have actually played pretty well. And so I don't know that we can hang it on them. I mean, it's quite possible this is just the wrong mix of players. You know, but so I think all the criticism or anyone who's freaking out about this, like I think we're deep enough in the season. It's a fair reaction.
What's up, everybody? I'm just fixing my headphones up here. I hope we are ready for a third period. And thank God we're heading into a third period, not a second one, because the second period is so bad for the Leafs. So effing bad. Sarah Marlowe, I have 3 kittens, and one of them is asleep in my lap right now. That is a good feeling. I'm allergic to our family cat, but I was lying on my back on the couch the other day, and he did kind of crawl up on my chest. And there's just something about a cat purring on your chest that it's very soothing. He's a very, very social cat. He's a rag doll, so they just are relentless with the need for attention. But you know, it was really comfortable until the allergies kicked in. Not so great afterwards. Robert says, Adam, I deserve more pictures of Teddy in my life. You'd have to hit up Natalie for it. I think she takes a picture of him every day. She'll pick him up and she'll be like, I'll be like watching a game. It'll be overtime or something like that. And Nat loves sports as much as I do. But as soon as she picks up Teddy, he becomes like the focus. And she'll be like, babe, look at us. That's what she says every time. Babe, look at us. Aren't we so cute, babe? And I'm like, can we, like, listen, I love you both. We've been together. We've lived together for 5+ years. I know what you guys look like together. The game is on. I'm happy in a few minutes to compliment you during a commercial break about how cute you look. You know what I'm saying? Austin Amino, welcome back to SDP VIP. By the way, we've had a bunch of donations from Movember tonight, and I want to shout out specifically our good friend Heather, the Avs fan, donating $30. She said, your mustache game is strong. Thank you, Heather, for donating to us for the SDPN Movember pot. Cool, man, Lanny. Adam, are we cooking? Lanny? Yes. Lanny, we're cooking. Oh, that second period was rough, Lanny. I think, Lanny, we gotta look at this. We gotta grade this on a curve. Excuse me. I just burped right in the microphone. I apologize. By the way, Nylander, Nyes, and Tavares, 21, 20, and 19. They are 2, 3, and 4 in even strength points this season, ahead of Celebrini and Bedard, and just behind Nathan McKinnon. That's really good. If the Leafs could defend, they might be one of the top teams in the league right now. It's absolutely the craziest shit, man. And by the way, Berube yelled at Nylander on the bench, and then Nylander set up Tavares for the third goal. Nylander was responsible directly for the second goal against and the third goal for. Nylander giveth and Nylander taketh away. Alessio, Adam, what do you think about Rasmus Andersson? I think he's a great defenseman, and he's going to look great in Vegas next year. Guys, I think Jay Rosehill is right. Like, in terms of, like, do I think the Leafs tried to trade for Rasmus Andersson? Absolutely. Do I believe that the Flames are ever going to make a trade with the Toronto Maple Leafs while Brad Treliving is the general manager? Absolutely not. Murray Edwards and Don Maloney are still salty with Brad about the fact that he resigned. Brad left because he couldn't handle it anymore up there. So no. Austin Amino, Jakub Dobish is killing me in fantasy. He's a -10. Ooh, that's rough. Yeah, he's having a bad night. What, is it still 5-0, by the way? Oh, it's 6-0 now. Woo! Tell me nobody took a penalty here. Shots are 20-8. So, it's so weird in the gambling, in the legalized gambling era, the shot counter changes all the time because they literally have to review every shot to make sure it's for real because people are betting on it, and you have to make sure that the shots are correct. And it's good. It actually holds the NHL accountable for their stats, which it's so weird that you have to say that. But like you look at stats like hits for years and years. Oh no! Hildeby just gave one to Quinton Byfield. And oh my God, another shot by Fiala. And the Leafs, oh my God, if you're a goaltender, please tend the goal, Dennis Hildeby. You've had a great game so far. Let's not screw it up now. I don't know how LA didn't score there. When they showed the replay of this, that I think it was Fiala and Byfield. Byfield was the first shot for sure. I think Hildeby kind of lost the puck in play. And the Leafs are going to ice this one. Oh, no, it was touched. I think Hildeby's made a couple of plays outside of the net, and I like his confidence. You don't need to do that, man. Just play in net, let the defenseman handle it, stop the puck, and leave it there for them. You don't need to be making passes. Again, I respect it, but please don't. Game's too tight. Leafs have not played well enough. Please. I forget what I was talking about before. Doesn't matter. Woo! Dennis, buddy, you're playing a great game. Don't give it to them. 21-8 are the shots. Oh, yeah, that's what I was talking about. So it's funny. There used to be Steve. I'll get Steve to tell this story on the podcast tomorrow. There was an arena, and I think it was either the Islanders or the Bruins, where every year one of those two teams had crazy amounts of hits. Like the hit stats were bonkers. And it was because there was really at the time, and this is not that long ago, maybe 10 years, there was no real standardized way to look at a hit. And this is pre the gambling sort of legalization stuff. So you'd go into that arena and your hit stats would go berserk. And obviously the players that played for that team would have these crazy hit stats. What this has actually done is it's forced the NHL to take their own stats seriously, which is kind of crazy, right? But it's true. And that's why a lot of teams had to move away from using the stats from NHL Central because they knew that the stats weren't being tracked properly. And so when advanced stats came in, shots on goal, possession numbers, etc., became extremely important in player evals. And the NHL was not equipped and didn't care to track them properly. Oh, big play. Ekman Larson is able to block that away. Sorry, say that, Hayden. Say that again, Hayden. Hayden says, couldn't a team artificially inflate a player's value by tracking those stats incorrectly? Absolutely. And what's crazy is I believe the teams themselves paid for the stats collectors, which is hilarious. The NHL should have. I believe that's the case. I believe the NHL was not paying for them. And so, they would likely, they'd sit all year watching the same team, and they'd obviously be like fans of them. So yeah, you could blow up a player's stats and make them look great and then pump and dump them. And that's why, player evaluation has gotten so much better in the last 10 years. It's crazy. The leaps forward teams have taken, certain teams. Leafs pinned in their own zone again here. 16:33 left in the third period. Up a goal. So yeah, you could back in the day sort of fudge the numbers and make a player look more valuable or more of a thing than they are. And, it's so interesting too. When we started the podcast, the advanced stats were really sort of starting to take off, but there was a lot of teams totally against them. Matthew Nyes intercepts the puck in the neutral zone. He's breaking in. Mikey Anderson tried to break it up, but Matthew Nyes did get a flutterer in. Anyway, long story short, when we started the podcast, we were in our mid-20s, and I'm now in my late 30s. So we've been doing it a while. It was sort of nuts how disjointed all that was. I forget what I was going to tell you. I had a great story there too. I forgot. But it's like the NHL really in the last 10 years has come into the modern era. Like baseball was like 20 years ahead of everybody else. Basketball and football were always better at player evals, but they've gotten way better. Hockey is a tough sport to evaluate, but it's far more of a science now than it used to be. Oh, yeah. So Phenom makes a point. Leafs are winning the block shots battle tonight. So it used to be that people would look at hit stats too, and they go, well, that's a tough team. They're tough to play against. Look at them go. And what they realized around the time we started the podcast was, oh, you're leading the NHL in hits? That might not be a good thing. And you know why that might not be a good thing? Because you never have the puck. The team that's laying the hit doesn't have a puck. By the way, Matthew Knies was pulled down there behind the net. I'm really surprised that there wasn't a penalty there. And I think he's yapping at the ref about it a little bit. I think there's a little bit of game management going on here. Look, Edmondson sort of, oh, it's not Edmondson, it's Armia. Yeah, that's a can opener. That's a, every time that's a penalty. Yeah, I get why he's pissed. And Berube is going to talk to the ref about it. Hayden says, does Morgan Geekie have a shot at the Olympic team? I think so. I mean, listen, you're among the NHL leaders in goals. Like, sorry. He's USA, right, Hayden? Oh, Canadian? No chance. And actually, US, no chance either. US team is absolutely stacked. He has the most goals since Four Nations. So how many goals does Morgan Geekie have since Four Nations? So he had 16 after Four Nations last year. Man, the Bruins didn't even make the playoffs. That's crazy. Blue Fire is asking, does Demko make Team USA? I don't think so. He's hurt again. I just don't know. So Geekie between the end of last year and early this year is 28 goals. And that's the most goals in the league in that time. That's nuts. Morgan Geekie. What do you think, Hayden? Who's second in that time? Just to give people some clarity on that. It might be Nick Suzuki. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. He was strong last year. There's always been a funny relationship with him and Team Canada. Like, he never went to the World Championships, and I think that pissed off a lot of Team Canada brass. Because, they'd always tell players, listen, if you come to the World Championships, it helps your opportunity to make the Four Nations and or the Olympic team. John Tavares went to the World Championships, and he was the captain, and they still left him off. Oh, what a save! Dennis Hildeby! Unbelievable with the left pad. He is easily the best goaltender the Leafs have played this year. The Toronto Maple Leafs themselves, though, still have yet to get to double-digit shots. Dennis Hildeby is bailing them out. The Leafs are looking not good. First period's been the only good period for them. It's been all LA this period, and it was basically all LA last period. The differentiation factor has been Dennis Hildeby. Tavares has to be on the list of 35 Canada is considering. I don't know that he is. And I'm not saying that's to insult him. I don't know that he is. So yeah, Suzuki will be on. I think Suzuki should be on Team Canada this year. I think it's crazy to leave him off. Maybe Geekie's on the extended list. Like they cut the list from 90 players to 40 for 35 to 40 a couple days ago. So maybe Geekie's on the extended, but I don't think he's on the Olympic team. I think there's just like Canada could probably ice 3 pretty competitive Canadian Olympic teams. It's a shame. It's not that a guy like Morgan Geekie wouldn't deserve it. It's just that they're so stacked. Like, are you going to leave Celebrini off? Are you going to leave Bedard off? Like, maybe Cirelli comes out. I think Marchand's going to go because he's Brad Marchand. But, like, I don't know. You got to have some super young guys in there, and that's why I think it makes sense to bring both Celebrini and Bedard. Maybe they only get into one game each, but they're going to be a core piece in the Olympics in 2030. You have to bring them. Tavares behind the net. Out to William Nylander. Leafs are actually coming out of their own zone with the puck. How rare. They tip the puck in on Kemper. Benoit at the line. Blocked by Kempe. Out front. Nice. Oh, man. Matthew Nyes missed a great opportunity. A great opportunity. And Tavares and Brant Clark are getting into it in the corner. Nyes looked skyward. He looked skyward. He thought it was in. How did he miss that? What happened? Oh, I think the puck was bouncing. Did it go over? Maybe Hayden thinks Doughty might have got a piece of it. We'll have to see the replay when we come back. I always hate when we go to commercial break right as that happens. Oh. McMahon, 30-48. Adam, the wild men of my favorite casting decision of SDPN saga. Who would you say are your top 3 musicians you've interviewed in your life? Well, I'll base it on how the interviews went. In no particular order. Taylor Swift, genuinely blown away. And I interviewed her when I was like 23. And she was like 23. It's been a long time. I interviewed her in Edmonton at the Rexall Center. Backstage, she was excellent. Another excellent interview, like just an A+ person, Keith Urban. And I got a good story about Keith Urban because I interviewed him for his new album. And we just, I don't know, maybe Keith's like this with everybody, but we just seem to hit it off. Sometimes you click with people. Other times it's just sort of a business thing. So when we talked, we had a really, really good interview. And it was so crazy. So later on, this is when he was still married to Nicole Kidman. So I interview him in the spring, and it's like February, March, kind of a gray, shitty day in Toronto. And then fast forward to the Toronto International Film Festival. I'm on the red carpet at a Nicole Kidman movie premiere. And who walks down the carpet? Nicole and Keith Urban. And Nicole was not talking to anybody. And Keith Urban pointed at me, and I waved because I was like, do you recognize me? And he did. And then he tapped Nicole on the shoulder, and he said, why don't you go talk to him? And she did. And I can't remember what I asked. I was so nervous. It was probably a shitty question. I'm not going to lie. But that really, really happened. Third one I'll have to think about. Who was the third one? I've been very, very fortunate, very blessed to interview a lot of good people. Those are the 2 that really stick out, though. Pitbull was awesome. Really positive guy. Really like him. So I'll go with Pitbull. But that was a phone interview. It wasn't in person. Loved him, though. You know what? My third one is Pink. I'm not like the biggest fan of all of Pink's songs. I think it's because I've heard them a lot as a former top 40 DJ. But Pink is awesome to talk to. She is an excellent interview. She really gives it. And you always come home with like a great interview that you can't wait to share with your audience. So those would be my 3. CS Showtime, Tavares. Tyson Barnett, regardless of the result tonight, this team needs to change like 3 or 4 guys via trade or AHL call-ups. Defense and bottom 6 does not look good enough. Riley looks like he doesn't want to be here. Riley does want to be here. I can tell you that because he refuses to waive his no trade clause. I just don't know that this system works for him. I don't think he works well within the Berube system. I think he'd work really good in the Sheldon Keefe system in New Jersey. Oh, Hildeby with a great save. Corey Perry was all alone against Dennis Hildeby, and Dennis Hildeby just grabbed a puck out of thin air in front of traffic. He did not see it and somehow caught it. Dennis Hildeby's having a game, kids. He's having a game. Wow. Look at this. Look at what Hildeby does here. Great save. Look, Hildeby versus Perry. Hildeby doesn't panic, gets the body position, and he's perfectly aligned. I don't think Corey Perry gets as much of this as he wants to. It's sort of he's not able to get it up as quickly as he wants. But damn, Dennis. Damn, Dennis. What else we got super chat wise here? Just to make sure. Frismic 95. Who do you think can rip the smelliest, juiciest fart on the Leafs? You think Benoit, Hayden? I'm going to say Jake McCabe. I think Jake McCabe because he's like a dad. He's got dad energy, and dads rip dirty farts. And that was kind of gross, but hey, it was a super chat. Robert Bett, do you think Hildeby is ready or still early? Listen, man, the NHL is next, especially at the goaltender position, it's next man up. Hildeby has been, even though last game was absolutely atrocious, Hildeby stopped 20 of 22 shots. That's a .909 save percentage. Right now, Dennis Hildeby is the Toronto Maple Leafs #1 goaltender just based on stats. And look at what he's done tonight. 2 saves, 2 goals allowed, 27 shots. He's at a .920-something save percentage tonight. He's ready right now. That's all you can ask. He's ready right now. So here we go. We got the Domi, McMahon, Robertson line. McMahon had a great breakaway in the first period. Leafs did play a really good first period. Second period stinks. Third period, they're coming on a little bit, but they did not start well. I'll tell you who's not ready. Joseph Woll. He's played 90 minutes of hockey in the AHL, and he's allowed 6 goals. I'm sorry. They're probably going to call him up, but they should not be calling him up. You got to let him cook in the minors a little bit longer. Let him get his mojo. He'll be fine. Get him in there. Get him into another game. Start him against St. Louis next Tuesday. They stink. That's a good chance for you to kind of get away. Oh, Nylander tried to find Nyes, who would have been away. It's just broken up. Edmondson with a shot. He misses the net. Wow, did he ever miss that net? 28-13 are the shots in LA's favor. Top line for the Leafs out there, Nyes, Tavares, and Nylander, and it looks like they're going to make a change here. Tavares is off. Wah is on, which means Dakota Joshua and Michelli will be joining him. 9:41 left in the third period. Benoit gives it away behind the net a little bit, but backed up by Nicholas Waugh, who's played sturdy defense all season long. Matthew Nyes is finally going to be able to change off, and out will come Dakota Joshua. Benoit to Michelli, who's had some great setups tonight. His numbers are looking better, and a shot misses the net. Waugh, Joshua, Michelli. This line's looking pretty good. Listen, nobody's looked great tonight for the Leafs, but we got we're grading on a curve here, and we got to take our positives. Got it. Oh, big. Okay, so we're going to commercial here. Remember, it is the Bally bet. SDPN. Watch along party. All right? Now, let's talk about the King Me parlay that Steve put together. If you got in on this, and I hope you did, we got some juiced odds for you. Tavares needed a point. We got Tavares a point. Kopitar needs a point. Still hasn't got one. 6 total goals, Steve said. 6+. 6 goals or more. We are 1 goal away from that. All Kopitar has to do is score a goal, and he's never scored in Toronto in this building ever. He called it the Air Canada Center today. All that needs to happen for that parlay to hit is 1 goal from Anze Kopitar, and we are 3 for 3. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But if the Leafs could get one, make it 4-2, and then Kopitar gets one, makes it 4-3, we still hit. And right now, every Saturday night, if you're with us at SDPN and you're watching, you can unlock a 100% profit boost each Saturday for the rest of the regular season. This is in addition to Bally Bet's site-wide welcome offer. That's where you get $50 in bonus bets when you wager $10. Now, I got a note for you. That only is valid in the United States. But we're cooking up some special things for our viewers in Ontario. Just gotta wait a little bit longer. Different rules here. So we got our American rules. We have a lot of Americans that watch SDPN, believe it or not. You'd be blown away by the numbers, actually. A lot of Americans watching from Los Angeles and all over tonight. So please welcome. Love that you guys are here. And straight up, the rules about giving away prizes, the rules about betting, different in every province, different in every state. So that offer is available to American listeners. Make sure that you tell them SDPN sent you. Helps us, the small business. All right, here we go. So, guys, can we get through the last 9 minutes of this game? Nick Waugh against Anze Kopitar. Kopitar could be in for that parlay. Oh, The Leafs actually flip it out, but LA reloads and gets it right back in. Jake McCabe playing with some legs tonight. You got Yarncroke, Waugh, and Lorentz out there. Interesting. So they put Waugh between Lorentz and Yarncroke. Does that mean they're interesting? I guess they're just sitting Sammy Blais on the bench. More defensive help, right? You're trying to lock it down, which the Leafs can't do. Like, we always complained under Sheldon Keefe and Mike Babcock that the Leafs couldn't lock anything down. Buddy, this year, they can't lock anything down. Nothing. But I understand why Berube is doing what he's doing. I've liked Sammy Blais. He's been a little bit invisible tonight, but overall, liked him. Lorentz, Yarncroke, Waugh, that's a good defensive line. 29-13 are the shots in for LA. Dude, unreal. I cannot overstate how bad the second period was for the Leafs, but they still came out with it with a goal and a lead. I don't know how it happened, but they managed it, and it's all because of William Nylander. Goal number 2 for LA, William Nylander's fault. He didn't pick up his man. Goal number 3 for Toronto, William Nylander's doing. Passed the puck into Tavares, who made a great move, and Kemper and scored. And that is how we were at 3-2. Nylander sort of dumps it in there. Robert bet at least the D and the bottom 6 tonight are trying, which is all we've asked for. Honestly, yes. The effort has been there. The execution still sucks. But 90% of it's effort. We can work on execution. I can't, the coaches are like, they can't teach effort. Oh, man. Dakota Mermis left that puck open, did not know where it was. Laferriere almost put it in. Just missed the net. Byfield has been spectacular tonight. Corey Perry's had a lot of chances. Mermis tries to stop him up there. It goes out to the point. Brant Clark is open, and he scores. Now, is Corey... I'm wondering if there might be a little goaltender interference on that. Maybe that's me taking a big old sip of Cope. But that was LA pushing and pushing and pushing. Corey Perry is in the crease when this puck goes in. I'm curious about that. I'm curious. Watch number 10 here on the replay. Nope. It's just a good shot. Just a good shot. Listen, Dennis Hildeby, that's, I think, the 30th or 31st shot of the game. And Corey Perry shit-talking Dakota Mermis afterwards. What a dick. He's so good at it. He's such a good villain. Dakota Mermis, I mean, the Leafs are completely outmatched by the LA Kings. Completely. Yeah, 31. Listen, Hildeby's given them 900 save percentage. They should be winning this game. If they played to any sort of standard like they did last year, they'd be winning this game. But they're just not. They're just not there. Waugh gets the puck down. One of the problems I think the Leafs have, guys, and I think you're seeing it in the shot counter tonight, is none of their defensemen can clear the puck. Obviously, you missed Tanev, but none of you guys can headman a puck. Morgan Riley, they don't have a lot of puck-moving defensemen. Michelli makes the move in. Waugh dumps the puck in. Oh, hey, we're 2 out of 3 on that parlay. 6 total goals. I don't think Anze Kopitar factored into that goal. Did he, Hayden? Official score has not been updated, but I don't even think he was on the ice. So we're 2 for 3 on that Steve Dangle Bally Bet parlay with 5:55 left. Are we going to overtime? Will we even make that? Can the Leafs hold the fort for OT? What's up, Hayden? Laferriere unassisted on that one. Wait, it wasn't Brant Clark? Interesting. So it's Laferriere's goal unassisted? Okay. Worth noting, too, LA scratched Andrei Kuzmenko tonight. Andrei Kuzmenko is one of those guys. He's either one of the most electric players on the ice or he sucks. And I think that they're just a little tired of his play right now. He'll get back into the lineup and he'll be fine. But hilarious. He's just one of those guys. Apparently, he's a real good vibes guy. The Canucks fans loved him when he was scoring. Heather says, Avs' new walkout song is Coolio's Gangster's Paradise. 1995 connection. Kind of slaps. Any other cool updates around the league? What song would the chat choose? What song would you choose for your walkout? I've always said that Jump from Van Halen would probably be mine. Mostly, it would have been Panama, but that's already the Leafs goal song. Van Halen's my favorite band, so I'm a little partial. All right, what other super chats have I missed? BC says, best LA comeback in Toronto this month. LOL. That's funny. That's funny. That is funny. What other super chats have I missed? Hayden, I don't know if I've missed any more. Have I? Oh, yeah, I have. Alex. So can we safely blame Matthews for how bad they've been since they are immediately better without him? Alex, they had one good period tonight. I don't think we are blaming Austin Matthews. I think we are blaming systems. I think we are blaming effort. That's a lethal combo, by the way. If you got systems working, but your effort kind of sucks, you can win a lot. If you've got good effort, but poor systems, you can win sometimes. If you have neither, bleh, fart. You're toast. Curtis, Adams, lay it on the line. Lay it on the line? Lay it on the line. I wonder how many complaints Rogers got about lay it on the line. I wonder. I have to be honest with you. I think the true winners of last year's playoffs, not the Oilers, not the Panthers, Triumph. Because a whole new generation of people were exposed to one of our best Canadian bands that people have kind of ignored. And then I think they went to in the finals, they went to a different song. I can't even remember what it was. Was it April Wine? Who was it? But it was good. It was good. Love Triumph. What's that, Hayden? Extra point, good for Dallas. Wait, so Dallas scored again? 7-0? Whoa. Yo, you know what? Listen. Yeah, some nights it's not your night. It's not Montreal's night. It's not listen, it's not like I'm like worried about the Canadians. I'm very not. Give me the goalie stats, Hayden. Dobish, 5 goals allowed on 13 shots. Okay. Montembeault, 5 goals allowed on how many? 2 goals allowed on 5 shots. Oh, the worst part about Montreal is if Dobish is not on, Montembeault is definitely not on. Montembeault's played himself off the Olympic team. Oh. By the way, we got a chat, or we've got a poll in the chat from our good friend Robert. Who breaks the tie? Now, I don't know if there's a lot of Los Angeles fans in the chat, or if there's a lot of very damaged Leaf fans in the chat, or both. But the Kings are sitting at 61% at basically 200 votes right now. Leafs are at 41%. Domino night. I can tell how scarred Adam is when it was the Leafs. Can the Leafs hold on for overtime? Not if LA could. Well, look at the way the game's gone. LA's been all over them. Hey, the Leafs got an offensive zone faceoff. How weird. I haven't seen one of those. We're all scarred Leaf fans. Show me row. Leafs play like it's 6-on-5 all game. They get hemmed in and look for breakaways or dump and change. I agree. Oh, here comes Nice. Tavares at the side of the net. Tavares has been on fire. He's on hat-trick watch, by the way. Riley at the point. Please get the puck deep, Morgan. To nobody. Somebody's got to be there. That's not Morgan's fault. Nyes gets it. Gets it to Tavares. They're digging in there. No support. No support. Doughty able to dump. Both lines go off. Fart. Nyes and Tavares worked real hard there. And I'm a little sad that nothing came of it. Hawks 23 with 3 minutes left in the game. So the real question is, who scores more? The Dallas Stars goal total over these next few games, or the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday? I'm going to say Dallas Stars. Don't tell CJ I said that. He's a big Cowboys fan. But I can't, as a Steeler fan, as a fan of any other NFL team, compliment the Dallas Cowboys. Although I have to give them credit. Pretty good brand they've built. Hawks 23. Oh, no, I've already done that one. Robert Bet, 1133. I think they should bring back Stompin' Tom Connors for the Leafs game. They do play him every game during the commercial timeout, I think in the third period. They always bring Stompatama out. Whoop! Michelli gets the puck to Robertson. He is covered. I got to say, LA has done a really good job smothering the Leafs. Anything the Leafs might have in the neutral zone. Leafs just can't get it past LA's defense in the neutral zone. They've really shut the Leafs down. What's that like? Is it the Leafs or because listen, LA's defensive metrics aren't great. But against Toronto, everybody's defense looks great. 23 Plaster, you asked if you missed any supers. Mine from earlier. Hey, Hayden, can you look up 23 Plaster's super and text it to me, please? I want to make sure I get everybody. I'm Beast 4041. So if Morgan Rielly waived his no trade clause, would there even be a willing taker for him? Yes. Puck moving defenseman. Has 700 points, I think, in the NHL or something. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's plenty of systems where Morgan Rielly be great. It's just not worked under Berube. And I don't know that it ever will. Certainly it doesn't work under Lalonde, but it didn't work great under Lambert either. And remember, Berube and Lane Lambert and Berube and Lalonde, along with Mike Van Ryn, who's more of a personnel defensive coach. Oh, here we go. William Nylander. Oh, nice play, but LA intercepts it. Nylander's looked dangerous all night at both ends of the ice. Sadly. 1:08 left in the third. Can the Leafs make it to overtime? Can we grab a point? It would be the first point in 3 games for the Leafs. Dennis Hildeby with a big save. 58 seconds to go. Remember, the Leafs have not had a point in 3 straight games. 2 of them against Boston, 1 of them against Carolina. Not a single point. Just sit back and get a point. Hilarious. Isn't it hilarious being a Leaf fan? It's hilarious. 33-15 of the shots. LA more than doubling up the Leafs on shots. I'm sure scoring chances. I'm sure offensive zone time. I'm sure if you go back and you look at old stats like Corsi and Fenwick, they are rocking the Leafs show. But Dennis Hildeby has stood strong. Be proud of your boy, Dennis. The Beast has been great. LaFerriere, who already scored tonight. Across. Oh, Jake McCabe almost put it in the net. And Hildeby is able to save. Holy damn. The Leafs defense cannot get out of their own way. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. They're just it's painful to watch. Oh. Like, I know that stuff happens, but holy. All right, 23 Plaster, I'm going to get your super chat here. This is only out of curiosity, but is there a way to drop Rielly even if he refuses to waive his no move? Maybe just a healthy scratch could help. Well, here's the problem. The Leafs are down a couple of defensemen already. Benoit stinks. McCabe's not looked good. The only guy who I think really looks good this year is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So if you're pulling Rielly out of the lineup, despite the fact he doesn't look good, who are you going to put in? Philip Myers? He hasn't looked good either. What do you prefer? You need some puck moving in there. So they're kind of trapped that way. The other thing is you can't waive him. It's a no move. If he has a no trade, you can waive him. But if a no move, no. So he has to allow them to trade him. And remember, he and his wife just had a baby within the last year. I wouldn't want to move either. Wouldn't matter how bad things were going. You don't want to uproot your entire family. And they also just built a house. Man, I'm telling you, do not put Joseph Woll in Saturday. Leafs are out-winning face-offs at LA 35-16. LA is out-shooting the Leafs 36-15. And the Leafs will get a point for the first time since last Thursday night, baby. Experience Toronto Maple Leafs hockey, where you barely get a point, damn it. But we got one. We got one. All right, now, time to go to the always accurate Magic 8 Ball as we go into overtime. Remember, if Kopitar scores or gets a point, Steve's parlay hits with Bally Bet. We are just We are just a Kopitar goal away in overtime or a Kopitar assist away from hitting that parlay with Bally Bet. This is the Bally Bet SDPN Thursday Night Watch along with your host, Adam Wylde. Now, I got a question. I'm going to do this the way a bartender does. They do that weird thing with the shakers where they do the thing and the thing, you know? Anyway, I'm going to ask our Magic 8 Ball, which has been pretty accurate this year, sadly. Will the Leafs win in overtime? Magic 8 Ball. Are the Toronto Maple Leafs going to win this game miraculously in overtime and get their first win in a week? Should I tell you? Or should I wait? Should I tell you? Do you guys want to know? No, but people don't want to know. They don't want to know. You don't want to know. You don't want to know what the Magic 8 Ball says. You sure you don't want to wait? You want me to wait? You don't want me to tell you? Okay, I'm not going to tell you. I'm just going to leave it right here. I'm going to leave it on its... So Justin, our Justin Fisher, who's you guys all know, he's got a 3D printer in the office. This is why I love SDPN, because we can just do shit like that. You just kind of... He just brought it in one day, and he's like, here's a 3D printer. See this F1 race wheel? That's a 3D printer. Isn't that cool? Yeah. Anyway, so Justin has built the Magic 8 Ball, a nice little thing to sit on, and I'm going to leave the answer right here so it doesn't change. You guys are asking me not to tell you what the Magic 8 Ball says. I will tell you what the Magic 8 Ball said after the game. You don't want to know right now? Fine. Fine. I asked it if the Leafs would win in overtime miraculously. LA has won the faceoff, by the way. It's Byfield, it's Kempe, and it's Doughty out there, as you would expect, against Nyes, McCabe, and Tavares. By the way, it's worth noting, it's Nylander's out there. No. Yeah, Nylander's out there. Worth noting, Nylander does not have a shot tonight, but he does have an assist. Doughty with it. Oh, and they score. Well, listen, I can't say that LA didn't deserve it. And by the way, it looks like our friend the Magic 8 Ball was wrong. The Magic 8 Ball believed the Leafs were going to win. It said, it is decidedly so. Woo! Well, it's been mostly right all year, I have to be honest. So maybe the Magic 8 Ball was believing in magic. I was too. I was like, oh man, I hope they do this. But they did not get the puck back after losing the faceoff in overtime. And look, like nobody's gapping up on Byfield there. He is wide freaking open. Watch. Great little stutter pass from Doughty, and McCabe is like nowhere. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. That is, listen, if we're going to pull a positive from that game, the Leafs played one good period, which is better than they played against Boston either time or Carolina. They look like ass against both of those teams. If we're going to pull another, what's that, Hayden? I want to tell you this. If there's another good thing to be brought out of this, Dennis Hildeby looked great. Guys, I'm going to let you know something. If you need a break from Toronto Maple Leafs hockey, there is SDP VIP dropping tomorrow morning. If you're not already a member, you should be a member. All right? It's $4.99 a month. You get an extra episode every single week. Drops Friday morning. And it's not hockey. It's other stuff. It's pop culture. It's fun. It's actually one of the most fun things that we get to do. If you'd like to see Steve Dangle podcasts without all the crash out, but none of the ads, we also have that for you. $6.99 a month. You get 4 episodes a week. You get them earlier than anybody else, and you get them completely ad-free. Now, that overtime goal by Quinton Byfield felt like somebody stabbed me. And it sounded like somebody had stabbed every single person at Scotiabank Arena. Slurms McKenzie. That is a name. Go Leafies, all love. Good game, Leafies, all love. Well, thank you to all the LA fans who tuned in tonight. You guys were great. Did Kopitar did not get a point, did he, Hayden? So we did not hit that parlay either. Robert Bet 1133. Yeah. You have to laugh. What else can you do? Don't you love being a Leafs fan? Woo! It's great. It's awesome. Fart. James Stemler. So did we lose 4 straight or 3.5? It's a Bettman 4 straight. The Leafs have not won a game in a week. If the Leafs win Saturday, dare to dream, it will have been 9 days, 10 days, if you fudge the details. The Leafs allowed 85 shot attempts tonight. The Leafs garnered 34 shot attempts tonight. The Leafs allowed 85 shot attempts tonight, guys. 85. Dennis Hildeby was a beast. Dennis Hildeby is their new starting goaltender. Good luck. 85. Ah! Logan Prescott, 1990. Don't even bother watching anymore. Rather support you guys. LOL, it's been the same story so far or what? Listen, I have maintained that I think the talent is in the room to do this. I'm begging the Leafs to do something. Apparently, they had a pretty sharp conversation after the Bruins game on Tuesday. It was not enough. It wasn't enough. I think there's got to be, we got to look at a move here at some point. This is rough. Francois Labelle dropping 5 SDPN memberships. Francois, thank you. Despite the Leafs' farts in a windstorm play, we appreciate you. James Stemler, Leafs fans, take solace. The Habs got shelled 7-0 at home. Listen, here's the difference. The Leafs are like last in the division. The Habs are first. I don't know, man. I'd take losing 7-0 and being number 1 over whatever this is. I appreciate your positivity, though. Tofu Tomo. How do you feel about Byfield on Team Canada? I don't think it's going to happen, but I think he's coming into his own, isn't he? Sedin Magic 15. What, Steve, do you think we get in the LFR tonight? I don't know. He can't just yell every time. I mean, we keep saying that, and he does. But I don't know that it can be that. I think it's got to be... I think we got to get some depth in the line. I think we got to get some defensemen. Like, this is rough. This is rough. Yeah. I don't know. Dennis Hildeby was great tonight. He deserved better than this. The Toronto Maple Leafs as a team did not. And I'm looking at a coaching staff here. Excuse me. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned. I think if Brad's butt cheeks and if Craig's butt cheeks are not hot driving home tonight, and listen, I know it's cold outside and they probably have cars with seat heaters. It ain't the seat heaters. This is not good. This is not good. Pete DeBoer is out there. Listen, whether I think it should happen or not, people are going to talk about that. By the way, I want to shout out to, I'm obviously growing this ridiculous mustache for November. Simon Young dropped $25 into our Movember thing. You can do that in the link in the description. We really appreciate the donations. How long before a new defense coach? Dude, your guess is as good as mine. Garbage. Adam Niclario said, where do the cap savings for Marner actually go? Certainly not to a good team. Not a well-constructed team at all. And the thing is that I do believe that the Toronto Maple Leafs have the talent. But whatever it is, I don't know. Like they cannot get the puck out of the zone. So maybe the answer is you got to trade for some defense. It's clearly the issue. Hildeby was great tonight. Forwards were not that great, but to be honest, there's only so much forwards can do. I don't know. Hayden, what do you think? Drop it to me. Hayden says they got nothing off the rush and they can't set up in the zone. Part of that's having puck-moving defensemen who are effective, though, right? Yeah. Hayden says, They can't get the puck in deep, and even when they do, they don't have anybody who can forecheck. Yep. Boy, oh boy. This is the biggest crisis I can remember them having since they fired Randy Carlyle in a playoff spot. I remember when they rolled off of a cliff with Ron Wilson. I remember when they rolled off with the 18-wheeler off a cliff with Randy Carlyle. When they were supposed to make the playoffs both years. I was, with Randy Carlyle, like Steve and I don't even think Jesse had joined the show yet. We were doing this podcast. It might have been the first season. The Leafs in Montreal were going to play in the first round. Montreal was really good back then. Carey Price, PK Subban. And they just absolutely screwed the pooch after February. This Leafs team would be lucky to make it to February. There's been a lot of injuries. It's not an excuse. They played like shit before anybody was injured. I don't know if you guys see the score bug, but Hayden's having fun with it. Hashtag mission for McKenna. Whoa. Robert Bett said, like I said, we need Phil Kessel back. Yeah, good one, Randy. Man, I don't know. I mean, I think the clear issue is on defense. Mermis and Myers are not it. And you know what sucks? This is the part that bothers me. Like, I did see some effort tonight, but I think the part that really bugs me is that it's not an entertaining product. Tonight was a good game. Tonight was entertaining. Not a good product most nights, though, right? Like when you sit back and be honest with yourself. Let's quote Russell Crowe in Gladiator. Are you not entertained? And if Russell Crowe in Gladiator played for these Leafs, I'd say, no, I'm not, Mr. Crowe. As intimidating and cool as you are, I am not entertained. This ain't good, man. And I don't know that even changing a coach at this point changes things. Like, it's bad. Iconu49 says, as a Bruins fan, I am just fine with the Leafs play. Yeah, I mean, listen, tonight was a pretty entertaining game by a Leaf standard. Like, Kings fans, you guys have been heating up. Your team looks good. You're fine. This was about as good as it's gotten for the Leafs this year. That's how bad they've been. Alex says, why does nobody talk about Berube's analytics? Well, I think tomorrow they're going to. They got outshot a lot last year. But I thought overall solid defense. Obviously, they could score. Great goaltending. No goaltending this year until Hildeby showed up. Defense looks like shit. And forwards can only do so much. Maybe, I've been giving Morgan Riley a hard time. But it's 9:49. I've just watched them lose their fourth straight game. At least they got a point tonight. And I'm beginning to think maybe this Berube system just doesn't work. And I hate saying that because I like him. I like what he brought to the Leafs. I like the Leafs a bit tougher. I like the Leafs playing a simpler game. I don't know. Like, if you're Brad Treliving, do you call Pete DeBoer tonight just to be like, Pete, what do you think? I don't know. I thought the effort was there tonight. I think they're short a few pretty key players, but whoa. Ben says, are they even a bit tougher at all, though? No, they're not. And that's the other thing. As Toronto fans, and LA, you can relate to this because you won the World Series. We just came off watching a improbable World Series run, at least if you looked at things in the beginning of the season. And a Toronto Blue Jays team that would have died for each other. I'm not feeling that vibe from the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I know that's like an old take and a dumb take, and it's apples to oranges, different teams, whatever. Don't tell me like everyone in your life has not said that. Everyone you know has said that. Everyone you know who watches a little bit of Toronto Maple Leafs hockey has said that. They've said it. Everybody's like, I just came off watching this magical Blue Jays run, and I'm watching these dweebs take the ice. And I feel bad saying that tonight because I really do think the effort was there. So even when the effort's there, that's the best we can do? Oh. Jake Niles says, this has to be attitude, right? Like, at what point do we say this combination of people doesn't work? Well, listen, man, it didn't work with Marner either. But at least it worked in the regular season. At least they had so much talent up front that they could outscore their problems, which is what they did. Except for when the playoffs hit, they couldn't do that anymore, and it screwed them. And the question I have is, like, is the goal is to get to the third round this year internally for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm letting you in on a little secret. That was the stated goal, must do from the CEO. Third round. Has to happen. And you're laughing at me. It's true. When you, and listen, crazier things have happened. Like the St. Louis Blues, when they won the Cup in 2019, they went from last place in the NHL on January 1st, and they won the Cup 6 months later. And they fired Mike Yeo, and they brought in Craig Berube, and that's what happened. Robert Bet, yeah, but we still hold the record for longest Stanley Cup drought. Not a great record, but still a record. The Leafs also hold the longest current playoff record right now. Because Boston missed last year. Toronto is it 9 seasons in a row? 10? I think this would be the 10th season if they make it. Hayden basically said every year that Matthews has been here, whatever season he's on, I think it's 9. It's probably 10. This is the 10th year. Steve's LFR tweet over LFR tonight, over 60 games left. That's why I asked you about, like, is this even entertaining to watch? Like, this is hard to watch. And then, so here's the question. They've changed the roster so much. Let's just say Sheldon Keefe left the Devils and was like, I need you back. And then Toronto was like, Sheldon, you can come back. And they started playing Sheldon Keefe hockey again. Could they? Do they have the people to play that sort of style anymore? Do they have the bodies to play that style anymore? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm the worst teams in the league every year are teams where you cannot identify an identity, right? So, like last year, for instance, when I looked at who was bad last year, Chicago. What do they do? When I look at Nashville, still to this date, what do you do? What are you known for? What's your brand? Right? Philadelphia the last 5 years. What are you? What happened to the Broad Street Bullies? Who are these guys? Right? Boston last year kind of lost their brand a little bit. They're starting to get it back. Like, you can lose it and get it back. Tampa, for all those seasons that they were going to the final, you knew what Tampa was. You knew what kind of game they were going to play. And what was crazy is that the last couple of years, even though they've gotten to the first round, that brand has sort of disappeared, right? They get older or whatever, but they're still playing it. They're still making it. Montreal, young, fun, exciting, not overly big. New Jersey, a little soft, fast, wheeling. They kind of look like the 2018-2019 Leafs, right? Major talent up front, great puck moving, score a bunch of goals, veteran goalie, and when they get to the playoffs, if they play a healthy Panthers team, you know the Panthers are going to bulldoze them. It's the way it's going to be. But they have a brand. I don't know what the Leafs are going for, Because, what we were sold and what I believed we had, I'll be honest, I thought the Leafs were going to win the division. So I'm happy to be way wrong. But we were sold heavy forecheck, heavy on the puck, solid defense that pushes you to the outside, and great goaltending. None of that. None of that. None of that. Like it's mind-blowing. It's just gone. And the Leafs of old, 3-4 years ago, they were a rush, fast scoring, high scoring. Defense is kind of bad, but whatever. You've got Marner and Matthews and Tavares and Nylander, and they're all in their prime. They don't really have that going, even though Nylander's in his prime. Matthews should be in his prime. Nyes is a couple years away from his prime, but looking great. Alex says Treliving is a team killer. Second team, second death. You got to remember, though, Treliving did he was there in Calgary for 10 years. He did put a pretty solid Calgary Flames team together. I know they got run over by the Oilers, but had some good years in there. But maybe you're right. Maybe I misread the situation completely. I must have, because they're bad. They're really, really bad. You cannot get doubled up every night in shots. You can't allow 85 scoring chances. 85. Dennis Hildeby was in the AHL a week ago. What do you mean you're allowing 85 scoring opportunities? 85? How many games do you expect to win? That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. So the hard part about where they're at right now, if they were going through this in January, well, teams are willing to make a trade in January. How many teams make a trade right now? Colorado does. Colorado revamped their goaltending. They got 2 brand new goalies before January 1st last season. Completely redid it. And as Steve will tell you tomorrow on the podcast, Brad, that's what the money's for. Even though people don't want to make trades right now, that's what the money's for. I am looking forward to Saturday. I think people online were speculating a little bit that Easton Cowan might be traded. He's not going to be traded, from what I've heard. He is scratched from the Marlies because they don't want him getting hurt, because Berube wants him back up, because Berube loves this guy. And so Easton Cowan is coming back, and they couldn't bring him up because they were in a cap crunch. And that cap crunch goes away when David Kampf's contract gets terminated starting tomorrow. And I think he's got to go on. I think he's being put on waivers tomorrow, which are unconditional waivers. And then noon on Saturday, when he inevitably clears, both sides will walk away. David Kampf can go sign with whoever he wants. I'm sure he'll have a deal at 12:01 on Saturday. And then the Leafs will be able to bring up Easton Cowan. Is Shanahan's parting gift to us Brad Treliving's decision-making? Oh, by the way, it's 2 p.m. tomorrow that Kampf is a UFA. Okay. By the way, I've liked most of Brad's moves to this point, but something's really wrong here. There's some rot here that's bad, and I don't know what to make of it. Anyway, guys, I love you. And I want to say this, Gripper Nation, thank you for showing out. We had a great turnout tonight, despite it was an exciting game, but holy God, the end was horrible. I want you to know I love you guys. And I'm going to be streaming again next week. I'll have dates for you. We'll mention it tomorrow on the show. Steve will be back Saturday to stream and hopefully not crash out. Maybe they get him a win. And I want to do a couple of shout outs here. Robert Malloy, amazing on the chat. Thank you so much tonight. So everybody give Robert Malloy a big shout out. Hayden Matheson, the stats god, my producer, backing me up every single time we do this. Hayden, thank you so much for all the great work. Gripper Nation, I love you guys. I'm streaming a lot more this year. You've already seen this. I did 3 streams this week, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. Expect more of this. I am inevitable. So I will see you soon. Probably going to do the Blues game next week. So I'll see you for that. Okay? Love you guys. Have a great night. And remember, as I told you at the beginning, win or lose, it's still Friday tomorrow. We lost, but it's still Friday. Good night.